Do the trashy pulp novels of the world have anything to offer? Are bestsellers all they're cracked up to be? Here at Terrible Book Club, we explore whether you really can judge a book by its cover, or its ridiculous synopsis. You ever passed a book and thought, ugh, who's reading this? We probably are.
Welcome to episode 63 of the Terrible Book Club. I'm Paris, and this is Chris.
Hello.
This time, we read Maradonia and the Gold of Ophir by Gloria Tesch, book 3 in the Maradonia Saga.
Question mark.
Yes, question mark. Gloria Tesch, book 3, both have question marks.
Also Saga?
Saga, yeah. Otherwise, I think the words Gold of Ophir and by, also in and the, totally fine, but the rest of it, I don't know.
I can definitely say that there was Gold of Ophir in this book.
Yeah. This time, it's a Patron's Choice episode. We are continuing our month of Maradonia with book 3 in the series, Maradonia and the Gold of Ophir. This was selected by our patron Dari as her choice for 2019. If you too would like to force us to read a book, you can become a patron at the $5 or $10 a month tiers on our Patreon. If this is the first time you've listened to the Terrible Book Club, just so you know, what we do is we read books that we assume will be bad. And this is based on maybe their cover, their title, summary, or a combination of all three. We read books that we would never read under normal circumstances, and usually this experiment results in a hilariously disappointing read, although once in a while we do end up liking the book, and, you know, it's actually us who are the assholes, and we shouldn't be judgmental, but most of the time we're right, like today. Oh, yeah.
Extremely correct in nominating this one for the show. I guess Dari was the right one in this case.
Yeah.
What a choice, Dari.
Oh, man. So, I don't know. I feel like today we don't have that many content warnings. So, if you've never listened to the show before, there's a lot of barnyard language. Chris and I speak very casually. So, there's a lot of swearing and jokes with some raunchy content. But in terms
of Boston, it slips out.
Yeah. In terms of book content, we've got mild body horror, blood, death, dismemberment, suggestions of incest, and kidnapping.
Can I say that suggestions of incest sounds like the worst scented candle you could buy? It's always on sale.
I thought you were going to say the worst pop punk band name or 2007 metalcore band name ever. We're suggestions of incest!
that's a slam death band, if anything.
Oh, God. Oh, okay.
So, yeah,
sorry.
Strap in, everybody.
Yeah,
That's the...
So, the book itself is actually fairly PG in its description, so nothing is, too ridiculous, but I feel like we're probably going to get a little crazy on this one, because that's the only way you can survive reading a book like this.
This is the longest episode document of notes that we've ever had.
Yep, how long have we been doing this? Almost 5 years?
Yeah, close.
It'll be 5 years the end of... No, is it... No. 4.5 years we've been doing this. And, yeah, so normally... we have 2 pages of notes. If you include the opening and closing, it can be 2 to 3 pages of, a Word document with 11 font, single spaced. Today we have 7 pages of notes. So this might actually have to get split into 2. So, if this ends up being a 2-parter, then great, you get more content from us.
Get yourself a long meal and a big drink and just lie back into your couch and settle in for half of your day.
Yeah, I was going to say, I hope you have a whole day of errands to run, maybe a lot of menial things to do at work where you can just listen to this for 4 hours. Or yeah, as Chris suggested, maybe you just want to recline in the lovely sun of the summer and just be taken away on a voyage to Maradonia.
Come away with us. To the land of Maradonia.
So All right, this is the summary for Maradonia and the Gold of Ophir. The Maradonia Saga is storytelling at its best.
Ha!
A stunning tour de force with a full complement of fast action, gritty realism, powerful characters, brimming treachery, bravery, knowledge, mystery,
My
and
cup
magic.
is full of treachery. Please help.
Overflowing. A girl called Maya and a boy called Joey, hunted by the powers of darkness, realize with the arrival of airships on the sky of Oceanside that they are not safe anymore in their old world because they had seized the most precious article of the Empire of Evil, the key to the Underworld. A messenger from the land of Maradonia delivers an urgent message, and Maya and Joey knew they must return to Maradonia, the world between worlds. But can they discover the center of rebellion? Can they find the 3 shiploads with the gold of Ophir? Can they disappear from the cruel hand of King Apollyon, the ruler of the Underworld, and escape from the cataract of evil? The author of the Maradonia Saga, Gloria Tesch, holds the title of the world's youngest published novelist, with Maradonia and the Seven Bridges, and makes her mark again with her second Maradonia treasure, Maradonia and the Gold of Ophir. Gloria Tesch is a growing voice in high fantasy literature. With 2 800-page novels to her credit, this master storyteller has the brightness of vision necessary to create sweeping epics and the storyteller's gift that makes readers love her.
Now, you might be wondering, hey, I thought you guys said this was book 3. What's up with this 2-book thing? And we sort of went over a little bit of this last episode where we explained how the book was originally split into 2 separate ebooks, but now there was one printed edition that we were using to get the back half of book 1 / the actual book 2. I believe in the cover of the printed copy we have of Gold over here, it's listed as the second book, complete with an autograph from Gloria.
Yeah, I think you actually said that a little backwards. So it was originally printed physically, as the first 2 books were physically printed, it was just 1 book. And then later, I think as a cash grab, they decided, we'll split it into 2. So the first 400 or so pages was book 1, and then the second 400 or so pages was book 2. But they didn't decide to do that until way later. So
okay.
That's why.
That's why on the back of this it's still claiming to be 2.
Yeah. And you might also be wondering, interesting that this is the world's youngest novelist, and I've never heard of her. Well, that's because she's not the world's youngest published novelist and never has been. This can, like we said in past episodes, you can just quickly Google this and discover that there were many other children who published books who were much younger than Gloria. I think she was 11 or 12 or something when they published the first book. And anyway, it's just a lie that the family has peddled, and of course this is a self-published work, so all the trappings of that usual nonsense. And if you want to know more about Maradonia and you want to hear our takes on the first 2 books, you have episode 11 way back when we read the first book, and then episode 62 we read the second book. Now in episode 63 we're on the 3rd book, and Chris, I'm almost positive we're going to have to read the other 2 books over the course of the next 2 years.
Yeah, maybe July will be this hellish month in the summer where it's hot and the feverish heat brings us out to this weird land where absolutely nothing makes sense. Because, let me tell you, there's 7 pages of notes over here, and looking back at some of them, I kind of forgot some of the context. So we might have to hold each other's hand a bit as we return once again to the land. I read this book a week and a half ago, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I just finished it today. I read 410 pages of it today. And,
you.
yeah.
Oh, Paris, I'm sorry.
No, it's my own fault. But in any case, there are a lot of characters and place names, and we're just going to do our best to just not really go that deep into any of them because
there's too much stuff, guys. There's too much. Listen, it's an 800-page book, and not for nothing, there's a lot of different places and random people that pop up in it. I'll give Gloria that. She was really good at naming things and coming up with weird names for people.
So although I would like to say the books are okay, these books are technically 800 or 810 pages or whatever, but the font is enormous, so it's not.
It's so big, I can read it at a normal person's reading distance. And Paris, you know me. How close do I have to read things usually?
Chris has to put things directly in front of his glasses. Like the whatever he's reading has to rest against his cheekbones. That's not a joke. That is really how he has to read things because of his vision.
Yeah, and this one, I could just, like, have it out, like, at a comfortable arm's length. And it was actually kind of nice, I have to say, in that respect.
Hey, I mean, maybe this book was written for you, Chris. Especially since they have to fight against the cataract of evil. They must fight blindness itself.
I don't think that word works how they think the word works.
No, I don't think so either. All right, so before, maybe just a quick recap if people don't want to fucking listen to, like, 4 hours of us talking. If you don't want to listen to the 2 previous episodes. So, we got these 2 teenagers. They get sucked into a magical world, off the coast of Florida, shrug. And the world is called the country is called Maradonia. I think it's a different dimension, right?
Yeah.
There's a couple other countries.
There's something about that in this book.
Yeah. There's a couple other countries. There's Maradonia. There's Terra Milli, which is like where the Empire of Evil is. There's Tyronia, the land of the dragons, right?
It's the Fire Nation.
There's a bunch of places. And basically at this point in the books, these teenagers, Maya and Joey, they stumble into this world, and of course they're the prophesied ones, and they come and they fight the evil guys, and they win, and they inspire everyone to be good and fight back, and et cetera, et cetera.
They're the encouragers.
Yep.
Their quality, their special quality is that they can encourage you really good through the power of something.
It's religious. There's definitely, like, the King of Light is God. There's a lot of God stuff, a lot of Christianity stuff happening, and also just a smashing of all kinds of different mythologies and places, and just thrown carelessly into a cauldron, just whatever.
There was too many cooks at this cauldron, and the soup is awful.
Yep.
It's like a combination miso, chicken noodle, tomato, bisque, clam chowder.
Yeah. Gazpacho. So it's just kind of this weird melange of shit. So yeah,
and we're going to do our best to sort of dig in and bring out the special nuggets for you, because I don't know how chronologically we're going to be able to go with a lot of this stuff. And if it doesn't make sense, hold on for the ride, honestly.
Yeah. So at the end of the last book, it was a situation where Maya and Joey were like, oh no, there's a plot against the king, and somebody has actively tried to kill him and us. Well, guess we gotta go back to Florida. See you later. That's how the second book
Didn't they
ends.
overhear a conversation? Because they have their invisibility hats. By the way, the invisibility hats still play a huge role in this book. It's just the ticket to how Maya and Joey know about fucking everything, because they're always invisible and listening in. Maya and Joey are the fucking deep state, y'all. Cover your webcams. Anyway. So they heard about this. They overheard a conversation. They still fucked off back to their hometown to, I don't know, just go back to their life where they weren't gods or, like, super well known and famous and literal prince and princess. Why would you go back, Paris?
I think they said that they went back because they missed their parents and their baby brother, but, like, I mean, honestly, I'd be all set. I'd be like, whatever. I'm good. I'm not going to go back to...
I'm literally royalty.
I'm not going to go back
here.
to fucking Florida. Like, no. But...
Where you have to go back to school?
Yeah. So they go back, and then... of course, because it's another dimension, there's, like, similar to the Chronicles of Narnia, there's this thing where they're like, well, when we're in the land of Maradonia, only, like, we could be there for years, and only minutes or days pass in our world or whatever. But then it's supposed to be the reverse, where, like, if they're in their world, thousands of years or whatever or hundreds of years could pass before they go back. But then they just, like, drop that convention immediately, and so the time sync is all fucked up, and we don't know how old anyone is or how long it's been. We have some... I think when they go back to Maradonia in this book, I think it's only been, like, 2 years since they've left. There
is a small child that has been born.
Two kids had been born. So that means
and
at
they're
least...
still babies.
Yeah, so
they're still not walking around.
Right. So I was estimating about 2 years, because, if the queen or whatever... if the queen got pregnant on their wedding night when they were still there, you know, had a baby 9 months later, and then was able to get pregnant and have another baby again, if we're talking like fucking bam, bam, back to back kids, like that's
still 18 months.
Yeah,
minimum.
I'm estimating 2 years. That's my best estimate based on the evidence I have from the book.
By the way, can we name the queen's sons right away?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so I'm the queen of Maradonia. I'm going to name my one son Michael, and my other son is Nodin. Like, not Odin. Also, this son killed me in childbirth and then died as well. So I guess he's just a real disappointment all around if you called him not this god and he also murdered you and himself.
Yeah. Going real well over there. So Maya and Joey only come back because the evil king of the Empire of Evil or whatever has like sent spaceships into their world and evil witches to like try to find them.
Listen, all psychics are in league with Satan, Paris.
They're also all murdering animals all the time, I guess.
All the psychics in the town are in league with the king for Maradonia somehow.
Yeah.
So I guess Maradonia isn't like a big secret like it was sort of made out to be in the first book or whatever. Also, if King Pluton... He's the son of the king, but he's also a king, by the way.
Well, there's King Pluton and King Abaddon, who are the sons of King Apollyon.
Yes, like, listen, everyone just gets the rank around there.
Oh, dude, they're throwing out ranks left and right in this book. We'll talk more about that later.
Anyway, if King Pluton could just push a UFO through the dimension door or whatever, what's the fucking issue? Why haven't you already gone into Maya and Joey's world to take over? If, at the minimum, you can, like, perform weird rituals and send your agents to, like, unscrew their heads in front of a school principal so he has a heart attack and dies, and then that's all they really do. So then they stage the thing.
Yeah, and so of course the Empire of Evil is trying to track them down because in the last book Maya and Joey stole the key to the Underworld, which I was writing a note about this in the notes, and my predictive text wrote Maradonia and the key to the incels. Instead of key to the Underworld. So
you can finally unlock their basement door downstairs. That's behind the third door down those basement steps in Maradonia is all the incels in one place. They actually kind of hate each other because they're bad at social interaction.
Yeah, can we talk about Maradonia and the key to the incels and how that would be a great book. I would read that. You know, and this brings us back to the question we had originally, which is like, why is there only one entrance and one key to the Underworld? Like, shouldn't you like leave an extra key under the doormat to your fucking neighbor demon's house and like if
bring that over to the demon key copier guy? That'll take a couple of days. You just gotta come back for it. Actually, this says do not copy on it.
I wrote that. It's me.
It's my key. Listen, I'm the key to the Underworld. Shouldn't you have access to me? Oh, wait, whatever. Anyway, he kept it in a fire. Joey stole it.
Right.
And now he has a magic key to the Underworld that's also a weapon of mass destruction.
It's also a nuke it's like a weird concentrate, like a laser, like a super laser.
It's a laser nuke.
And as Chris pointed out in the first book, if hell is just literally downstairs, like just drill through the fucking floor or something. Like it's not like I don't understand. And also, why do they even need to go down there? What? They haven't needed it.
The unicorns aren't there anymore.
The unicorns aren't there anymore, and they didn't need to. They haven't needed it for anything. They still have all their powers. They still have their army and all their fucking ships and other equipment. Like, why the fuck does it matter? I mean, I guess I understand that it's a powerful weapon.
It is powerful.
But they weren't. They were more worried about the fact that they couldn't get into the Underworld, and I was like, fucking why? Like, what do you think? Like, are the overseers just gonna stop torturing people? Like, oh man, we haven't got a visit from the
forgot
boss.
This. Listen, if I don't go down there and bug him, he just gets bored and he starts playing Nintendo Switch instead for all eternity. And then all those people in the lake will just be kind of toasty. They're still in lava. I don't know, do they gotta keep pumping lava in there every once in a while?
Yeah,
Listen, you also have UFOs that blind people instantly, except if you have a sweater.
Yeah, sweaters protect you from lasers, turns out. This is literally a thing in the book where there's like the alien, and I'm also confused about why the bad guys who up to this point have really just been described as like evil underworld demons, like, hellish demonic presences. Suddenly they have alien spacecrafts and are supposed to also be aliens? I don't know what that was about. But yeah, there's a scene where they've sent the flying saucers into regular Florida. I guess this explains a lot of things about, like, the Florida Man headlines. So they've sent the alien spacecrafts armed with lasers to Florida to try to capture the teenagers, and they're shooting them. And Maya's like, "Oh no, Joey, the lasers! Quick, cover your face with your sweater!" And it's like, and then he covered his face.
Please. The cold light waves is what they...
You're right. Excuse me.
I don't know why they're cold.
The cold light waves. There's also all this bullshit happens. I'm gonna try to do the rest of this in order.
Good luck.
So,
listen, they've been doing sacrifices on the beach. Pluton turned all the psychics into pigs for a bit or something.
Did that happen?
Yeah, they turned... All the psychics were dancing around, like, a fire that King Pluton was appearing in.
You're right.
And then he turned them all into pigs, and then I don't know what happened to them after that. I think they just got eaten or something.
I don't know. But anyway, so...
It's not important. It doesn't matter. It's just a weird thing that happened. You have to accept these things when you're reading Mary.
So I'm just gonna try to walk it back a little bit. So... So... All you need to know about the beginning of the book is, they go back to Florida, some teenage shit happens that we'll detail in a minute, then they get attacked by the demon aliens that, as we just described, and then there's more. But before you even crack open the book, you might look at the cover and think, wow, it's a lot of fonts. In fact...
There's a good handful of,
when Chris...
my hands can't hold all these fonts. They keep spilling over.
Yeah, when Chris had to hand the book off to me, because this was one where we had physical copy instead of, a virtual one. So Chris swung by my work, I grabbed the book from him, and I go back up to my office, and other people on my team, I was like, oh, this is the next terrible book, and my coworker Shay looks at the book, and he goes, how many... Are there 6 fonts on that book cover? And I was like, probably. And we sat there and counted them. And there are, in fact, 6 fonts between the front and back covers. If you open it, there's actually a map on the inside, one of those glorious fantasy maps. And that has a 7th font. And then the title page has an additional 8th. And then finally, we have a 9th font for the table of contents. So
contractually obligated fantasy map at the start of your face. Listen, you can't. It doesn't count unless you have the map up front.
I think the best part of the map is that Oceanside, Florida, is on the map, and it's also misspelled. It's also misspelled severely. It's spelled Oceaniside, Oceniside.
What? that's missing too many letters at the back end.
Yeah, missing an A.
And not enough up front.
Yeah, missing an A. It's got an extra I. So the map actually suggests that Oceanside, Florida is, I don't know. It looks like there's just a mountain range separating Oceanside, Florida from Maradonia and Terra Milli and the rest of this bullshit. So I think what the map is telling us is that Florida has an extra part that's been hidden from us. And so, like, I'm wondering, is Maradonia just like a Disney extension? Like, is this like some kind of weird swamp that no one's ever heard of? I mean, because that's what the map makes it look like. There's no dimension rift on the map. It just looks like another piece of Florida. It's weird.
That's the part Walt didn't want anyone to know about.
Yeah, it was actually the failure. He's like, oh, no one can learn about that first park.
He had all these theme park ideas. The head guy took himself way too seriously. Then they got lasers somehow, and he just walled it off. Right.
Yeah, I think that. So that's my theory: is that Maradonia is actually the failed first attempt at Disney World. The first page of this book asserts that Maya and Joey are somehow unaware of the dangers they face from the evil guys, except like, I'm sure they're pretty well versed in it since we spent a whole 2 other books talking about it. And also, they probably don't care that much because they didn't kill the evil king when they had a chance last time. So, like, obviously not that dangerous, I guess.
They let him walk up to the whole town wall that they were in, the castle wall or whatever, and they just take his son back and revive him. Like, in full view, Apollyon didn't even do the resurrection spell, like, later in his, spell dungeon, or where, necromancers have a spell dungeon. I'm sure that's part of the whole lifestyle and whatnot.
Yeah, sure.
But he just did it in front of the city walls and for full view of everyone, and no one thought to, like, hey, let's drop a fucking rock or, like, a barrel of wine on them or something. Right now? Maybe right now.
Right. So that was the last book. And then this book, it gets more into detail about how, like, Pluton wants to kill Abaddon, his brother, and he concocts this plan, and I guess now Abaddon is Prometheus, and he's getting chained to a rock and having his liver eaten day after day, and it keeps growing back, and I was like, why is Abaddon Prometheus? They share no, like, lore. I don't understand. Again, this is
just a cool torture thing that she heard once.
The illustrations in this one get fucking excellent. They're one of the first ones. It's every chapter has an illustration, and there's a chapter where the illustration is just, we need results, and it's this terrible wizard guy. Oh, it's real bad.
I think it's supposed to be Pluton.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it is. Yeah. Oh, that's actually the first chapter. Yeah, it's supposed to be Pluton. He's got some structural issues in the face and hand.
Listen, Gloria's mom not great at drawing human things. Some of the illustrations in this book aren't bad, though, when there's not people involved.
But, like, isn't it weird how the hand close-ups are really good, but then when she pulls away, like, pulls further back, the hands just look like deformed sausages? Like, I don't know.
There's a drawing of a baby somewhere in this book that is...
fuck. That's right. Pluton is conspiring with some titans to kill his brother Abaddon.
When they first show up to the meeting, though, they just stare at each other for 40 minutes.
Yeah.
It literally says that they just stared at each other for like 20 or 40 minutes before anyone talked. It really says that. I promise.
And then they have this weird exchange where they're like, where someone's like, "Bring it on, Pluton! Yeah, I'm gonna bring it." And I was like, "The next film in the Bring It On series, bring it on, Pluton!"
They just have to dance each other until. We're going to dance at King Abaddon's posse together, and we will come out victorious.
And then the book is trying to describe how, I think it's trying to describe how Pluton or Abaddon or one of the Titans has a kind of an evil gleam in their eyes, like just by looking at their eyes, you can tell how evil they are. And it's described as diabolic sparkles, which...
that's kind of cute, honestly. That's adorable.
Doesn't convey the right sense. This book also has issues with like planetary bodies. It discusses
it?
Yeah. So I'm gonna mention one thing and then something way later in the book just because they're related. But they're talking about how there's gonna be this the red moon. It's gonna be a big deal. It's a herald of bad things to come, and they're like,
I don't even remember the red moon happening.
God. So they're like, yeah, the red moon constellation, and I was like, the moon isn't a fucking constellation. What are you talking about? And then later, let me read you. I gotta read you the list of planets.
Tell me how many planets there are and what their names are, please,
so
Paris.
All right, everybody, the 7 planets, right? Venus, Mercury, the Sun, Jupiter, Saturn, Mars, and the Moon.
Yeah.
That's it. Those are the planets. Thanks, Gloria.
The sun and the moon. Very important bodies of...
Thanks, Gloria Tesch, for that. Good.
Neptune, Uranus, just nowhere to be found, I'm pretty sure.
Also, the sun and the moon should not be included. They're not planets. Also, Earth. Who needs that?
That's our special place.
It's just the one we're on. Like, whatever. Yeah. So, anyway... Maya and Joey go back to the regular world, and they go back to school. So the front part of this book, it's like front-loaded with dumb high school bullshit.
That does not matter.
No, there's a teacher that's... Oh, Chris, this is your note. If you want to do this, that's fine.
I mean... Yeah, this is like a scene that's... It's another random thing that happens that's just really dumb. Like every 2 or 3 pages, maybe 5... There's just some stupid thing that happens that makes you question reality for a second. And one of them is that there's a teacher just outside the school who I guess is just drooling and standing, like, right? Like there's just some guy that's standing around drooling in the front of the school that's... I don't know why he's...
No, he was a substitute teacher, And apparently I think the idea was Maya said something so crushing that he could only stand there and drool.
Oh, wait, isn't this when Maya has a freak out about being the princess of Maradonia in her class?
Yes, that is true.
She's like just sitting in class and the substitute teacher asked her to do something and she's like, no, I won't do that. I'm the princess of Maradonia. I don't have to do nothing that anyone tells me. She like stands up and shouts this and then everyone laughs at her. Like, maybe not rightfully, who knows? But
well, like, so everybody laughs because they're like, what is she talking about? But then these other girls, instead of just laughing at her, they get so upset that they try to fucking kill her.
They try to murder her.
Yeah, they get so upset about her.
They think she's all like stuck up or whatever. So they corner her and smash her hand apart with their boots. It's like specific to mention they're super punk boots because punk people are super aggressive and dangerous, you see.
Right, of course. Yeah, there's even like the title illustration for one of the chapters is a drawing just of the boot. The big evil boot, the big black boot, you know, the girl who wears all the black clothes and she's real evil. And they beat up Maya to the point where she has to be hospitalized. Her hand is irreparably broken, like some of the fingers in her hand, and she's really fucked up. And so that doesn't make any sense. That whole cycle just made no sense. I don't know. I have a note that says, does Mr. Peanut teach history? And I
completely forget what that's about. I'm sure it was totally relevant when we read it.
I think that
maybe it was that drooling guy. Maybe he had like he just like the peanut in his brain turned off or something like whatever.
I think there was a teacher named like Mr. Walnut or something, or Mr. Almond or something. I was like, oh, does Mr. Peanut,
Chestnut? I think
Chestnut. Yeah, and I was like, oh, does Mr. Peanut teach history? Oh, and then there's this big emphasis on like 666 and 333, and so they're talking about Maya's hospital room is like 333, and someone makes some pronouncement about like how special that number is, and all I can hear in my head is, if you're 222, I'm 333.
Slipknot's coming back and remaking that classic tune.
Some gospel version of Slipknot. Oh, God.
We can't be fully evil. We're just
Oh, Slipknot's terrible. Anyway.
By the way, when Maya's in the hospital, her like dad comes around with her little brother, and they're like, "This isn't my Maya. Maya's beautiful," which is a mega fucked up thing to say to your daughter, who just is like hospitalized.
Well, no, but it was her little brother who was like 2 years old that supposedly said that, and I was like, I don't think a 2-year-old would say that.
Nah, but it's also like super fucked up. Thanks, little bro.
Yeah. So of course, you know, naturally the family, you know, Joey.
This is not my beautiful Maya. This is not my beautiful hospital.
Oh, that's right. That's like that weird meme, right?
Talking Head song.
Oh, I thought it was a weird meme. I'm confused.
Also, during this, Joey makes the proclamation.
Yeah, Joey.
So Joey's like very vengeful about all. He's very vengeful and upset about this. And when he sees Maya all messed up in the hospital bed, he decides that he's going to put on, in his words, the best illusion show that anyone's ever seen. And this is a threatening gesture, as if he's out there going to be like, they're going to see the best fucking magic they ever saw, and they're going to be so sorry they hurt my sister.
Yeah, that was really confusing. I mean, I'm assuming that the author was trying to get across the point that he was going to do some sick magic on them or whatever, but that they phrased it in a way that sounded like he was like, I'm gonna do the best fucking card trick they ever saw. Like, okay, all right.
Is this your card? Fuck you, bitch.
This is your card. I don't even have to ask.
I bet you chose the ace of spades, you idiot.
Maya's in the hospital recovering, and she wakes up, and one of the first things she thinks is, it seems my karate knowledge was not enough defense for this attack. And all I could think of was, yes, the lament of karate practitioners everywhere.
Yeah, it turns out not enough.
Nope.
You didn't do the right roundhouse at the right moment, and now...
So then there's this, like, because Maya gets beat up at school, there's like, oh, no, actually, because people have seen aliens using lasers, detectives get involved. I don't know why the FBI wasn't involved instead, but
it's just like one of the town detectives who also comes to Maya. He's like also on the case for Maya getting hurt, and he like comes to the classroom and like questions the students a little bit about it. Doesn't seem like he's doing an effective job or anything, but he's like, maybe these things are linked. This story gets stranger every day, when as far as I know, he literally just started investigating this thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Perhaps it just started out weird. Also, I forget why he links Maya getting hurt and the whole UFO lasers thing. I'm sure it's dumb.
I don't know.
Read the book if you want to find out, I suppose.
Don't read this book. I think someone just tells him, or he makes a weird connection based on like where they were. I don't remember. So then there's a couple of scenes where they reference some things that seemed out of place to me in Florida, but it turns out I'm just an idiot. So there's a scene where they're like talking about the lime trees, you know, shedding their leaves and how beautiful autumn is. And I was like, Florida doesn't have an autumn. And I was like really mad about it.
The changing colors of the palm tree.
Because they were talking about that, and then they were like talking about pumpkin farms, and I was like, fuck you. Florida doesn't have autumn. Florida doesn't have pumpkins.
Don't take our good New England shit and act like you have it down.
Yeah, and I was like, no, Florida's just a never-ending sweat dream of swamps and amusement parks. But no, I'm sorry, Florida. I owe you an apology.
We have like 3 amazing weeks a year. Do not appropriate our culture for it.
Yeah. But it turns out Florida does have a brief autumn. It is from late October through November, apparently.
Well, we're the dumb ones.
Yeah,
too, but
and
still,
also,
I feel like...
And also, Florida has several pumpkin farms. And I was like,
wow.
My mind blown.
Well,
yep.
We find new things out every day.
Look at that.
Point to you, Gloria.
No.
No. Well, there's several negative points already, so it's just, one drop in a very, very deep bucket.
I have a note that says The Haunting, which was the title of one of the chapters/drawings. And I wrote, yeah, this fucking drawing is going to haunt my dreams. And I don't know what it was. I don't know.
I'm sure you'll probably have to make a little accompanying article post that's just like all the weird people drawings in this book at some point.
Oh, dude, the drawing of the Ouija board is like somebody's clearly never seen a fucking Ouija board in their life. It's like square and it's got all these weird symbols on it that Ouija boards never have. Typically don't. I won't say never. But typically don't, the conventional Ouija board design has been standardized by whatever the Parker Brothers or Hasbro or whoever owns that.
Yeah, because you don't have the real Ouija board shit. That's why.
It's true. I'm a false.
Anyway, the haunting is Joey. It's Joey who's the ghost here in this chapter.
Yeah, we'll explain the Ouija board, but the image is amazing. So the board itself looks pretty unconventional. Like I said, it's square rather than rectangular. It's got like a circle in the middle and like weird geometric designs. And then there's no planchette. The 3 girls are just touching the center of the board. So, like, I don't know what they're expecting. Yeah, you're supposed to point to
it. Everyone knows that's how Ouija works. You just point to the letter you want to spell things.
I don't know what they're expecting to move because they're just touching the board. So that's weird. But yeah, so there's Joey decides he's gonna, because he finds out eventually he finds out who beat up Maya.
Because he wore his invisibility cap and listened in on their conversation at the exact right moment.
Right.
Shocker.
Yep. And so he decides he's going to exact revenge on these girls who almost killed his sister by destroying a bunch of school property, terrorizing other people, accidentally killing someone else. Right? No, wait, no. No. He didn't. The fairies did. Basically, He goes on this weird rampage in the school where he puts his invisibility hat on and just starts like fucking shit up, like breaking desks and computers, like smashed a desk into a wall so hard that its legs stuck into the wall.
He picked up like a proper huge like teacher desk is how it's described to do this. Which I guess the Tarn cap gives you super strength too?
I don't know. And then he's like, yeah, I ruined this classroom and terrorized a bunch of people and I guess that shows them. And I was like, how does that punish the girls specifically who hurt Maya? Like, yeah, they were in the classroom at the time, but you're like, couldn't you put your invisibility hat on and then murder those girls privately? Like, why would you have?
I was also expecting that part because like Maya kind of had Joey had this dark awakening a little bit in the last book where he had the key to the Underworld and he's like nuking forests and lasering crows to death. So perhaps this was another step in Joey's Darth Vadering or whatever. So I thought it would go, and it kind of is maybe, but that he just destroys a bunch of school property to scare them a little bit, and that's his revenge. That's his whole plan.
Yeah, which made no sense. So he does that. He makes fake blood with paint and water, but I don't know if that would look like blood. Then I forget. Oh, the evil fairies that were in the, some of them were in the first book. They're like servants of the evil king or whatever. They get sent into this world as kind of like, I don't know, extra backup for the alien spaceships or whatever. Because they're like, oh no.
Because sometimes cold light waves just won't solve all your problems.
Well, yeah, because they sent 13 alien spaceships with fucking nuke lasers, but Joey used the key to the Underworld to destroy most of them. They were like, oh shit, we better send ground troops instead. So they send the fairies in. I mean,
one of many like evil girl squads in this book. How many evil girl squads are there in this book, Paris? There's at least 4.
God, I know. Well, women are evil.
Here's one of them. Candace and who is this one? Saturnalia,
Saturnia and
Cassandra,
yeah. So they come in and they're trying to find Maya and Joey, and they like pretend to be school administrators or something.
They go up to the principal and they threaten him by unscrewing their heads at him.
And then the principal dies. And Chris was like, oh yeah, someone finally died of not heart disease. But I was like, no, he only fell and and busted his head open and died because he was having a heart attack caused by the magic from the other dimension. Because they just established that in like a sentence in this book where they're like, yeah, magic from the other dimension, it gives you a heart attack and you die. You're like, what? That doesn't work for me.
It's just to make people die easier. You'd think you wouldn't need all the nuke lasers and like the UFOs and shit, but whatever, man.
Sure.
Do you, evil empire from another dimension? Also, there's a portion where the Libertine comes. She's like their helper messenger from Maradonia.
And she's
that comes in
a
contact.
white dove.
Yeah, anyway, she shows up in Florida, which is where doves are, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And she starts explaining to Maya and Joey something about the 4th dimension, and you need to open your eyes to the 5th dimension, because that's like where you see really what Maradonia is. And I'm pretty sure that's not how dimensions work, first of all. Also, this is never really brought up again, except for one brief moment where Libertine's like, yeah, open up your 5th dimension eye, Maya and Joey.
Yeah, I
don't know what the fuck the point was.
Oh, and actually the bird is there because while Joey's having his poltergeist fit and the fairies are killing the principal and all that's going on, Libertine comes and talks to Maya and is like, oh, I see you're in critical condition. No probs. I'm going to run to the other dimension and get you these healing leaves. So she does that. She gets these magical healing leaves and comes back, and Maya is totally fine.
Not an issue. Not a big deal at all to like go back and forth.
The only thing it doesn't heal are her fingers that were mangled. Like they're mostly healed, but they're not like perfectly functional. But otherwise she's totally fine. So I mean, I guess like the instant healing leaves just made me feel like, okay, there's just no consequences. And also, if they're in the other dimension, don't the evil people have access to them too? And then the further question is, why didn't they just use these on the queen when she died?
Yeah,
like
right?
It doesn't make any sense.
Speaking of good birds, there's also evil birds.
Oh yeah, there's a lot more detail on the evil birds from the last time.
Y'all remember Big Bertha and her sisters, her couple of remaining sisters? Well, they finally got some names this book, and let me tell you, there's some real doozies because Gloria decided to go all out for these names. It's Big Bertha and her sisters BB and Doo-Doo.
No, it's literally no, Chris. It's Bebe and Doo.
Oh, I'm sorry. That clued. No, it's BB and Doo-Doo. Paris. There's a bird named Doo-Doo in this book.
BB,
the Doo-Doo bird.
I think it's Bebe and Doo. I don't know.
No, it's Doo-Doo the bird.
Yeah, and
Doo-Doo the very stupid bird.
And just seeing BB and Doo-Doo in the book, I mean, if you weren't...
That's how you should pronounce them, too.
That's how I said them in my head when I was reading them, because they just are just such a weird thing to choose. It's just a strange decision, like everything in this book. All right, so we get these weird bird asides. You know, we got good birds, we got bad birds, then we're back to the story. And by the way, this is just how the fucking book works. We are just going chapter by chapter, notes by notes.
Don't worry. It's not like we're bouncing around that much.
No, we bounced around a little at the beginning, but then I rewound us back to the beginning, and we are going in order.
Speaking of Paris, your next note here, I have no idea what the context here.
Chris, you want to read the next note?
It just, in all caps, it just says, I have no time. The salsa dance It takes me away.
Okay, so this note concerns the
not the last mention of salsa in this book, by the way.
This note concerns when we're like I said, we got good birds, we got bad birds, and bam, back in Florida. We are back in the high school bullshit, and we get a couple chapters of where we focus on the bullies that attacked Maya, namely the main bully. I think her name is Alana, right? Is that right?
Yes.
So Alana, for some reason, we get this like really deep lore on Alana and her background. And there's
her mom is a single mom. Seems like she's kind of, promiscuous with herself, which whatever, live your life. But Alana doesn't like it. She goes on this little tirade when her mom tries to tell her what to do.
Yeah. And her mom, there's this, little bit of a chapter that's like, oh, Alana had a miserable life because her mom never took care of her after her dad left. And, she had to like fend for herself, and her mom's always out. And her mom comes home and she's like, I'm so sorry that I'm not a good enough mom. The salsa dance, it takes me away, or something.
I have to go out dancing.
So there's this weird part of a chapter where it's like, oh, this poor mom addicted to salsa dancing, just this crippling addiction. And so that was really strange.
The rhythm, it feeds me.
Yeah.
And so Alana is like, oh, fine, Mom, go out and dance again. I'm going to do occult shit with my friends tonight. We're going to do some Ouija board stuff. You can't stop me.
Yeah, and by the way, they decide, Alana and the rest of the bullies decide to mess with the Ouija board because of the attack that Joey perpetrated at school, because he was invisible while it happened, so everyone thought it was a ghost.
So they're like, yeah, why don't we get back up in that ghost shit? Yeah,
they're like,
that ghost that hates me.
Yeah, they're like, we need to figure out what's going on. Why is a ghost protecting Maya? Because that's what they think. They think it's a ghost protecting her. And these girls are having a weekday sleepover to play with the Ouija board. This fucking weekday sleepover for high schoolers starts at 10 p.m. I was like, these girls go hard.
Oh, yeah. Late night occult stuff. Mom's not home. She's out dancing the night away. We can do whatever we want. Let's summon the fucking devil.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, they mess with the Ouija board and...
Wait, no, Paris. They stare at it for 40 minutes while it does nothing. It says 40 minutes here. Why are people waiting so long before they do anything in this book?
I don't know. But then eventually, I don't even know how it happens, but the evil fairies show up.
They're invisible because I guess you don't have to have a tarn cap to be invisible. So what's the problem?
Yeah, I don't know. So for some reason, the fairies show up and they're like, or Chris, you can read this note. This is yours.
The one where she's like, they try to tell Alana that she's connected to the ghosts somehow, but because she's connected to the ghosts, they're going to destroy Alana's house, hurt her mother and her friends to scare her because you're one of us, Alana. You're doing this occult witch stuff, but fuck you and your house and your friends and your mom, who hasn't left for the salsa dancing, I guess, at this point. So this scares Alana so much that she runs out into the street screaming about, like, oh, it's the end for me. It's over. I've done it now. And then she gets hit by a car and dies.
Yep. And I found there's a section where it explains that the Sutornia and Cassandra, the fairies, show up when they're messing with the Ouija board because they're messing with the Ouija board. It just says, through your Ouija board, we have finally found you. So,
it can just
not
detect
really
that.
An explanation. But yeah, Alana just runs into the road and gets hit by a car and dies.
So, set all this lore and set up for, oh, Alana's had this hard life, you shouldn't judge her right away, but also she deserved to die because of what she did with the Ouija board and to what she did to Maya. So, fuck you, person with a tough life.
Yeah, you have a note, Chris, you have a note about a fortress being made of psychic pigs. Could you please explain that note?
Listen, so this is about the point where I guess this, like, ritual that Pluton had set up at the beach is still going on, and it refers to there being a fortress at the beach, but just this one time in the book. Later on, they come back to the beach because the cops are checking it out, but there's no fortress or anything there. I think it's like a a psychic fortress or something that's just their illusory style
that
or
makes
whatever.
sense. Okay.
But also for some reason, remember the psychics of the town that are in league with King Apollyon, they got turned into pigs during their ritual dance or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And that made the fortress is how it literally describes their flesh as being used to make the fortress. What I don't know. I don't know why, Paris, because it doesn't really matter. It doesn't ever come up again.
The place in the book about I think I got it.
We have so much more to go, Paris.
Oh, I know, this is terrible.
We're about an hour in where we got through maybe 1.5 pages of a 7 pages.
No. Okay. All right. Wow. Okay. I guess I'm just gonna boop out a bunch of those notes. All right.
Yeah. By the way, whenever anyone's invisible in this book, it's always referred to as their invisible situation or my invisible status. Just say you're fucking when I'm invisible. Why is it your status or situation all the time? It's very annoying.
Yeah. A lot of the way things are written in this book are just totally nonsensical and weird. Then that's right. Then Maya and Joey are like, all right, we have to go back to Maradonia. So they leave Florida again. And when they're going through the cave, they get attacked by bats. There's this weird part about Barbette from the Humane Society. I don't remember what about.
Listen, she comes up and then she's gone, just like dust in the wind. We have to.
I think it had to do with the bats because Joey was like, nuke the bats, and Maya was like, no, they're precious animals, and then she's like, Barbette at the Humane Society taught us how to respect life. She really cares
about life right now. She cares about life in the first 100 pages of this book, but let me tell you.
My theory is that Barbette is a real person who worked at the real Humane Society near them in real Florida, where they're from, and paid for a shout out. That's my theory. So they for some reason, when they go back into Maradonia, they decide to wait to put their invisibility hats on, which doesn't make any sense. Because like, if you know the evil dudes are hot on your trail, why would you not just stay invisible all the time? Wouldn't it make it harder for them to find you?
Yeah, they're headed to the Frog Oracle Swamp in any case. Yeah. So,
and the King Oraculus, the Frog Oracle, Oraculus, the Oracle.
Also a king.
See how I did that? I put the word in the name of the thing that it is. Yeah, it's fucking brilliant. Anyway, he's dying, and his last words are just, "Good work, daughter. Keep it up."
Very encouraging dad. I have to give it to him, man. He's like trying his best. He's like, listen, I'm about to die because I think it was because the evil people showed up.
There's no explanation. He just dies.
No, it's like the evil people showed up, right? To scare him into dying, right? Wasn't it Saturnia Cassandra coming back to be like, "Oh, Oraculus, we're coming to get you," and he's like, "Oh, I guess I gotta die now."
Yeah, but like they don't do anything to murder him.
No, they don't. They don't.
Okay.
He just decides that they showed up now. It's time.
But then after he dies, I don't know. Joey and Maya are like, I don't know. Maybe we should use the key to the Underworld, which they also call the Destroyer. Confusingly enough, they're like, maybe we
Defender.
should use...
They call it Defender.
Oh, Defender. Okay. Sorry, the Defender. They're like, oh, maybe we should use it to fight the fairies. And I was like, and they decide not to. And I was just like, yeah, fucking good job, honestly. Because the last time Joey used it, he burned down a whole fucking forest. Destroyed the livelihoods of thousands. And
you don't want to do that to the Oracle frogs, especially the young daughter that you're deciding to like let tag along with you for a minute or whatever.
Yeah, they
rescue other Oracle frog forest. Yeah. To the other Oracle frog forest.
There's a reference to cruel journeyman frogs, and I don't even know what that was about. Just gonna. Yep, I said it. We're done. Oh yeah, Chris, do you want to talk about the shipping?
Okay, so let's just keep this clipping at a healthy rate. They leave the Oracle Frog Forest with the princess or whatever. What was her name? Like Orion. It was like also started with OR and was like a reference to being an oracle and had an N or an X at the end. Anyway, she tags along with them for a little bit of and they start talking about the gold of Ophir or whatever because Oraculus and his daughter saw all the gold of Ophir ships. Maya and Joey have this big mystery to solve and the plot against King Genarius to get in the middle of and solve. And so Gloria decides this is the best part to go for like 2 pages, which is a lot for this book, about exact shipping routes and where things come from and go to where at various shipping points throughout the world or part of Florida, I guess, that Maradonia inhabits. It's very deep. It's very, very exhaustive. And this is like the one time this happens in this book. I felt like I just picked up a set of armor in Maradonia Souls with some like weird lore just like listed in there. Holy shit, can someone please make a Maradonia-based Dark Souls mod for us?
Oh my god. Someone do
Please,
this.
Just replace all the text.
Guys,
replace all the text with like the aphorisms that randomly pop up in this book.
Okay, I might pay some money for this. Like,
if you can do this, if you can make this mod happen, this might be where our patron money goes.
we need a Maradonia Dark Souls mod, please.
Please, only 5 people in the world will get it.
Anyway, so they go back, and Oraculus, I think, is it Oraculus? Is it the frog who's like, yo, you gotta figure out what's wrong with this gold that's missing, or no, because they knew about that before they left last time, right?
But he reminds them. They come back, and Oraculus is the one that gives them the quests of, hey, there's a plot against the king. I could see the future. Oh no! I think he says, "Oh no," like 4 times in a row during his vision prophecy. At one point, says, oh no, I saw that. Oh no, I saw that. That's my Oraculus voice, by the way.
Yep.
And he tells them about the ships. They got to go find the ships as well because it was a lot of fucking gold.
Yeah, we talked about this last time. So they've been gone. I mean, so Maya and Joey have only been gone a couple weeks, but a couple of years have passed in Maradonia. But like, so wait, no one's done anything about a plot against the crown or billions of missing dollars for like 2 years?
They just let that trail go cold. They're like, well, Maya and Joey aren't here, and we don't have any other inspectors, except they do later in the book.
Yeah.
And I guess they just sat on their ass with a thumb up their ass about it.
Yeah.
The whole time.
Yeah, so that is confusing. That alone is confusing.
Do your own fucking work, King Generius.
And then they're talking about meet up with the mermaids again. And they're like, oh, the mermaids are such friendly and happy creatures. And I was like, yeah, didn't we end the last book with you telling us how the mermaids are just murderous beasts who destroy any ship and the entire crew that dares to go into their waters?
Hope you remember us after 2 Maradonia years or whatever, guys.
Yeah, right. Then they get on a boat and they sail. They're in a storm for 2 weeks. I don't know.
Yeah, listen, they're in a storm for 2 weeks and it claims they didn't eat that whole time, Paris. They would be fucking dead.
Nah, you can, as long as you have water, you can survive without food for that long.
It would be a rough go, though.
It would be a rough go. And I honestly don't know if you can be at sea inside of a storm for 2 weeks. I've definitely heard of people being inside of a storm for, like more than a day. But 2 weeks seems like a long time.
That's a long storm, guys. That's a big, long storm.
And the storm was called the Basio Cyclone. Then they're saying that they're measuring depth with sonar, and that was confusing to me because I thought sonar just helped you like find other objects or creatures in the water. I mean, I guess
it's still bouncing.
Yeah, I guess it's still bouncing, so that's fine. That's just me being dumb. I have a note that says, do ocean gods crave wheat? Because when they're deciding to give an offering to the ocean gods because they survived the storm, they throw it a bunch of wheat.
Like,
cool.
Yeah, the ocean god's down there is just like, I just need more bread. I just can't get enough flour down here to make a good loaf of bread. Can you guys listen? I will stop the storm. I will let you survive if you just promise to throw down some flour, some wheat I can mill or something, because I just haven't had a good toast in forever.
Actually, that makes sense because, like,
you know what a nightmare it is to like plug a toaster in under the ocean? Let me tell you, all my kids are dead.
I try to cook the loaves over the heat vents. The underwater.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
It's a steamed piece of bread. You ever have a soggy, wet, a hot piece of bread?
And sometimes, I end up eating the tube worm instead of the bread. Anyway, I think it makes sense because if you're an ocean god, you can't grow, you don't have wheat. So yeah, maybe ocean gods do crave wheat. I don't know. Then they, that's right. After the storm, they wreck the boat on an island. But luckily those people that live on that island happen to speak the same language. They're very helpful. Someone gets bitten by a snake.
Joey decides the best way to help a snake bite is by stabbing into it.
No. That's not what happens. Maya someone's like, oh, we don't know how to deal with the snake bite. This guy's probably dead, but I don't know. There's this healing woman who lives, over there. So Maya, like, runs a town over to see this wise woman healer. The healer gives her a prophecy and also is like, hey, pour this stuff into the snake bite, but you gotta, like, wrench open the snake bite to really get it in there, really soak it in. So that's what happens. She comes back, and by the way, the guy that is bitten by a snake is Danny.
Is Danny the ship guy who gets bitten by a snake?
The dude. And so, yeah. Maya's like, you won't feel a thing, it's fine. And then she just shoves the knife into the snake bite.
She literally tells this guy
he
won't feel a thing and does not deliver any anesthetic and just proceeds to shove you won't feel nothing, don't worry about it.
So they wrench the snake bite open with a knife and pour this in, and then the guy also has to drink the rest of the medicine. I don't know why you have to administer it 2 ways, but whatever. There's just a casual mention that Maradonia doesn't have any moons, which was confusing to me.
Real dark nights all the time.
I'm pretty sure they have tides, so I don't know.
That's different. Because you see, well, the moon being a planet,
oh my
Paris,
God,
that doesn't happen in this dimension.
Right.
So tides just are a function of the ocean god. When you give him enough wheat, he'll pull the ocean back so you have more room.
I think, Chris, I'm starting to believe more and more in my theory that Maradonia isn't another dimension. It's just another part of Florida. So we have all these people,
extra weird part of
who
Florida,
have been rejected. All the Florida men and Florida women from the headlines have fled to this part of the state. You have to go into that cave at the Pebble Beach. You pop out the other side, and that's what this is. It's just where everyone who's been rejected from Florida goes. And if you've been rejected from Florida, oh man.
Yeah.
So that's why
makes sense to me.
So I think what's really happening is Maya and Joey are maybe taking some bath salts and then going through this cave, and like they're just imagining all of this stuff. It's just this weird other part of Florida where things are real fucked up and they're on drugs, and that's why they think everything is magical.
King Apollyon is just some like old Florida guy with his shirt off ranting about how he rules everyone around here.
Yeah. So then, literally out of nowhere, like the king of
dragons,
the king of the dragons shows up, and when I'm naming some important characters in my book, in the tradition of BB and Doo, I want to really make sure the name is good and definitely evokes a sense of awe and
draconic
importance.
Majesty.
Yeah, draconic majesty. So I named him Emoji.
No, Paris, Moogie, even stupider.
The name is Imugi, but I read it as Emoji the whole time. So Emoji the dragon is like the king of the dragons or whatever.
He's a big white dragon. He's such a big old white dragon.
And then you figure out, you find out later that he was actually a person at one point and got turned into a dragon, but that was like thousands of years ago.
He was the king of Tyronia at one point, and then he was such a good dragon king of the dragon land that the dragons were like, hey, why don't you also be a dragon with us? Touch this crystal or something. He touched something, and he became a dragon, and that's how he's been for like hundreds of years.
Yeah, or I think it's thousands, but yeah. Then they go. So literally, what happens is Maya and Joey are talking to somebody, and they're like, "Huh, look at those big things flying around. Oh, I hope those dragons have news for us and come and talk to us." And then Emoji comes down and is like, "Hey, you want to come to Tyronia?" And they're like, "I don't know." And he's like, "No, you want to come to Tyronia." And he pulls out a gun and he's like, "Get on my back."
he basically does that.
Yeah. He guilts them into coming with him to Tyronia, even though Maya and Joey are like, "I don't know, we got like enough mysteries and problems here in Maradonia."
We're currently in this land of Arcadia that we took a ship to figure out about the rebellion and the Gold of Ophir. Listen, we came to the house with salsa all the way here in Arcadia.
Oh yeah, so you're like, all right, cool. They're continuing their journey. All right, they got out of the storm. They saved that guy. Cool. Turn the page. This chapter 27 is called Villa Consulsa.
That's the name of the town hall in Arcadia where they are. Literally the house with salsa.
And I mean, but like, I want to live like maybe in the house next door at Villa Con Queso. Like, can I get an apartment, like a condo? Ooh, condo con queso. Yes.
Yes. A little more calories, but definitely more delicious.
Oh,
on the
worth
whole.
every calorie. Worth every one. So, yeah, they're there. And anyway, Emoji takes them away.
No, she takes Joey away. Maya is still staying in Arcadia.
Oh, it's...
Joey's the one that gets taken away.
Right.
That's the deal that a movie makes so that Maya can handle business here with Colonel Felipe, the leader of Arcadia, and his right-hand man, Mr. Snowblitz.
Yeah, so I guess so we'll forget about Joey and Emoji the Dragon right now. We'll return to them. For now, we have more info about the conspiracy involving both the Gold of Ophir and the murder of the king and the conspiracy against the crown. It's all tied together. Yeah, so Mr. Snowblitz is like this shitty guy who is supposed to be a good guy but gets co-opted by the bad guys. And they decide that he needs a code name so no one will know that
nobody
he's
can
working
find
with them.
out that it's Mr. Listen, don't tell anyone what Mr. Snowblitz is doing. Every time you come talk to us, you can't be Mr. Snowblitz. You have to be something else, okay? So, what code name do we give him, Paris?
Well, I mean, obviously, Mr. Snowblitz, no one would ever know that Snowbird is Mr. Snowblitz. You see, there's
no way.
There's three letters that are different. There's three letters that are different.
There's absolutely no way that they would make the connection that Snowbird could be Mr. Snowblitz.
No. Those three letters that are different, no.
And listen, we have to, like, really emphasize... Honestly, like, they try to, like, stamp this into Mr. Snowblitz when it's Saturnia and Cassandra again, right? They came back through the thing, and they're doing this conspiracy stuff. And they're talking to Mr. Snowblitz about how we can't let anyone know that you're in on this stuff. Okay, you're Mr. Snowbird. And honestly, the whole scene reads like that one scene from The Simpsons where Homer is in witness protection, and they're desperately trying to get him to figure out that he is Mr. Johnson. And when someone addresses him as Mr. Johnson, he needs to respond to that.
Oh, yeah. Actually,
I think he's talking to you.
I wasn't sure if it was Saturnia and Cassandra or if it was Candace and Ginger.
That's true.
The
you know what?
shitty human women.
The other evil girl squad. The
Right.
other evil girl duo. What does Gloria have against girls in groups?
She hates them.
Women in groups, I guess.
Yeah. So there's just like all this like pseudo intrigue. And I don't know. And then Coleman is like an interrogator. I don't even know what happens to him in the end. I don't even remember him existing later in the book.
He was just the inspector on the case. Mr. Snowblitz is like the district secretary or something that's dealing with the evil plotters that are conspiring against
Sorry, I'm seeing...
King Genarius.
I had to scroll down in our document and I started seeing some random notes down below and I'm like, I don't even know what that was about.
All right, yeah, so we're going to continue here. Because Mr. Coleman, Inspector Coleman or whatever, is treated like he's this master interrogator when he's literally just coming up to people and being like, did you do it? This master interrogator is like, were you the one that stole the gold of Ophir? Are you the one that sunk the ships? Are you the one?
Yeah, so...
And they're like, nah, I'm straight, dude. And Coleman's like, all right.
Yeah, and I also don't... I mean, again... How has this guy been on this case for like 2 years and hasn't figured anything out? He's like just now barely starting to piece things together, and then he gets it wrong and thinks that like Maya is bad or something. I don't know. And then they're like, yeah, we're gonna poison them, and I was like, guys, you tried to poison them 2 years ago and that didn't work. Why are you gonna try to poison them again? It didn't work before.
Well, this time they won't be in their Tarn caps to listen in on the plan, except Maya was this time again.
Yeah. So of course, Maya and Joey know about all this evil shit because they're just always wearing their invisibility hats, and they just happen to know where to be all the time. Oh yeah, there's some kid with like shadow people disease. I don't know.
Listen, there's a girl that lives in a lighthouse, and she's having night terrors or sleep paralysis where she sees shadow people or something, and the Shadow King is coming for her, and Maya has to go run and get another magical healing item. By the way, a couple chapters ago, we kind of glossed over this. Maya and Joey go to some old guy that's dying of the shits. He literally has dysentery, and they literally just say, hey, believe hard enough and reality will be what you want it to be over him, and this heals him. But every other time they need to heal someone in this book, or someone needs a healer, they don't just say the magic healing words again?
Yeah, I don't understand. It's very everything in these books is very inconsistent, and that's one of the things that's probably most notable in terms of inconsistency.
So, old man at the end of your life, of dying of the shits, you get to live a little bit longer. Little girl with her life ahead of her that's having terrifying night terrors and sleep paralysis. The Shadow King's coming for her. By the way, I don't know who the Shadow King is. He's just another king.
Oh, he's death personified, I think. He's like the ruler of the Underworld, even though I thought
King Apollyon was the king of the...
Nope, just more people. Just wait. There's more bad guys later in the book.
Yeah, but don't worry, the Shadow King never comes up again. So, moving on.
I have a note about I have some illustration notes. Poor Bob Ross. Why are they drinking beer out of wicker basket mugs? Because there is.
Oh, is this the scene that takes place in the bar where all the sailors hang out?
Yeah,
Spelunka.
That's such a fucking weird name. Yeah, there's an amazing illustration where it looks like a really fucked up melting Bob Ross and this other dude like drinking. They're supposed to be drinking beer out of presumably glass mugs, but they look like wicker baskets. Like, I don't know. The choices are just strange.
All this beer just keeps falling through my basket. I have to keep ordering more. That's how they get you.
That's how they get you. And there's this. So there. Who is this? This is like.
It's two criminals conspiring in the bar.
Oh, right. So there's two criminals conspiring, and of course Maya and Joey are listening in. And somehow in the course of pages from page 284 to 285, I had like there were four weird things in the text. There's something that's like, oh, that's just another fishtail story. And I was like, what?
Those old fishtail stories you keep telling.
Yeah, as if to say like one of those, like exaggerated or lies or whatever, but fishtail story? And then they're just talking about the garbage beach.
Yeah.
Which I, of course, in my mind read as garbage beach? No!
Yeah. Listen, if you don't know what that is, go to YouTube, type in garbage day, and click on the 15-second video.
Yep.
Thank me later.
And then there's another line where it says that they can't, Maya and Joey someone couldn't recognize someone else because of the overpowering smell of rum? And I was like,
they
what
couldn't tell.
Like, are you a dog? Like, can you not recognize someone with your eye? I mean, it was saying, the line was like, oh, we couldn't recognize them because it was smoky and because of the overpowering smell of rum. And I was like, okay, I get why smoke might cloud your vision, but why is your sense of smell being affected, preventing you from recognizing people with your fucking eyes? Like, what the hell? And then they're talking about ordering long drinks. They ordered more long drinks, and I just didn't understand. Like,
we got the longest drinks around, Paris. Listen.
So I had a period of several sentences where I just could not fucking get a grip on what the hell was going on. It was really bad. And then, so these like, some of the evil dudes are talking a little while later, and they're like, oh yeah, Maya and Joey are secretly invisible and they listen to our conversations. And I'm like, how the fuck would they know that? There's literally, there's no...
They just guess, Paris. They just guess that, like, hey, they're probably listening in on our conversations and then do nothing to stop this from happening, ever.
But they specifically say, not only are they listening, they specifically say, Maya and Joey are secretly invisible and listening to our conversations. And I'm like, what the fuck? They don't, there's no explanation in the text as to how anyone would have figured that out. It's just all of a sudden part of the story. Makes no sense. Oh, there's another illustration note that says, why did we think it was a good idea to wrestle in this pit of marshmallow fluff?
What is that even about?
It's supposed to be a picture of two people drowning, but it just looks like two people stuck in a vat of marshmallow fluff.
It's too sweet. I can't handle it. It's not even Nutella, the good kind of spread.
Yeah, marshmallow fluff is terrible. Get out of here with that. But yeah,
Nutella or die.
The water is so poorly drawn, it looks like sticky fluff, and it's weird. Oh, and then there was a surprise detail specifically for me in this book, which was hilarious.
Please.
So as I mentioned at the start of this, much of these books, the whole Maradonia thing is like just a bunch of shit getting smashed together. So biblical stuff, Greek mythology, Norse stuff, just like weird old fairy tales from Germany, just smashing it together without any reasoning.
Anything we can get in here.
Yeah,
anything we can get in there.
Just throwing it and stirring. And so my hometown is New Bedford, Massachusetts, and it was once the richest city in the world due to whaling. When I grew up there, it was just a pit of despair and misery. It's not a great place. Sorry, anyone who lives there now or who thinks New Bedford is great. I personally had a bad time there. Not a fan. I know that people are trying to revitalize it. But anyway, so New Bedford and whaling are inextricably tied together. And randomly, all of a sudden, there was just a line in here about the whaling ship, the New Bedfort, with Captain William Morgan, the whale and walrus hunter. And I was like... Yeah,
real...
And so he changed one letter and turned the city name into the ship name. And kind of... Because, like, the Morgans were a prominent family at the time when, the height of whaling, what is that, late 19th century? Yeah. Yep. And he just kind of cobbled together a name. Yeah, like, a lot of this feels like everything has been poorly Google translated. Like, the language, the myths, just all of it filtered through a weird translator that doesn't really understand context. Like, that's kind of... yeah. My next note is just, please stop telling me about the location, positioning, and existence of Maya and Joey's backpacks. Please.
At all times, you must know exactly. They're on their shoulders. They're on the floor. They're left behind somewhere.
Oh my God, there's so many details about the location, positioning, and the fact that the backpacks exist. And then so just, as the story progresses, all the conspirators are just getting fucked up, trying to do evil shit and failing. Candace and Ginger decide they're gonna just take on this guy named Captain Henry, who is Maya's love interest, randomly.
Yeah, she's kind of crush on Maya a little bit, and his age is not made clear, and it's very, very alarming.
Well, in the last book, there was one sentence where they were like, Maya blushed when Captain Henry looked at her, and I was like, uh-oh, this is going to be in the next book. And there is a little bit of it in here where they're really trying to, like, make some romantic relationships happen for the characters. Joey, I'm sure you'll remember, in the last book, had, like, a much deeper story about Morgana the mermaid who is in love with him, and even though everyone else was like, Morgana, dude, he's fucking 14. She's like, I don't care. He's a man to me.
Yeah, just a number, baby.
Fucking age is what is age just what is the
fucking
what's the song?
Age is just a number.
Age ain't nothing but a number, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's all that and R. Kelly playlists down there for the mermaids all the time.
Whew, yeah.
Spicy, right?
Yeah. And so that rears its head once more, except Joey falls in love with Princess Krimhilda?
Krimhilda.
Oh. Krimhilda, heir to the Krispy Kreme fortune.
Yeah.
And he falls in love with her just because someone told him a story verbally about her existence. And he falls in love with the idea of her.
So in love. Yeah, literally like the worst way to fall in love with someone. He just hears a story about how beautiful and shy she is.
About how she has beautiful hair. Yeah.
And that's enough. That's his fetish, I guess.
And
it's like,
Maya,
wow, she has hair? Oh my God.
And Maya and Henry have like an awkward, I don't know, they like kiss once or whatever. Anyway, he gets attacked by Candace and Ginger. So Candace is Felipe's wife, and she's in on the conspiracy, and she kind of like blackmailed her friend Ginger into helping. And they just decide they're going to take on the captain with just a knife. Like the captain who's armed with like a sword and like a side dagger.
He's in armor. He's supposed to be in armor.
Somehow they fucking stab him in the back and actually injure him, but he ends up slitting Candace's throat, or Candace's throat.
I think so, yes.
And then Ginger's like, oh, just crawl into the ocean. I can't help you. I need to run away, but the water and salt will definitely accelerate your bleeding and intensify the pain. It's fine. Like,
yeah, that'll help. Get the salt all in there.
She specifically
please.
tells her to put her slashed throat in the ocean. I mean, won't both water and salt, like the water is going to accelerate the bleeding, and then the salt is going to intensify the pain.
Wasn't it like some other captain that wasn't Henry that got his throat cut too?
No.
Because like he got his horse to drag him around, right? Like, because he was injured, he couldn't get up on the horse, he was so hurt.
That's Henry. It's the same guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
Jeez, I mixed up a couple captains in this book.
It's easy to do. So yeah, so the captain's like, oh no. You know, so he kills Candace. Ginger gets away. She just runs away. And the captain, who was stabbed in the back, is so injured that he's like, oh, I'll just tie myself to my horse and have my horse drag me. I was like, I don't know if your horse would understand that
I'll be fine.
It would need to walk very slowly. So I imagine this guy is just like keel hauling himself on land, basically, on this horse. Someone swims into a sword just like the wolf jumped into a sword in the first book or second book.
Easy XP, Paris. Don't put it down where you can get it.
Yeah, there's some fight in the water and someone just swims directly into a sword, just like in the last book.
Really makes those fight scenes easy to write, let me tell you.
I have a note that says, in all caps, I smash you with big wooden log, and I have no recollection of what that is.
Someone was big and using a big log to smash other people, I'm pretty sure.
I just don't remember.
It's not important. We have to keep it. I think we can wrap this up in one episode if we just keep this clip up.
Yeah, we're gonna.
It'll still be long, but
try real hard. Ginger eventually gets captured, put on trial, and they're like, "Oh, we're just gonna use her as a witness for the prosecution because she turned on everyone else." Oh, yeah, I wonder where those dragons are. Oh, yeah, they're right here. Never mind.
I think it's Maya that's wondering where those dragons going to be, and then they literally just show up at that second, like everything else very convenient in this.
Yeah, and so now we switch from, okay, all the Maradonia shit is on hold while we move to Joey's story in Tyronia. And they explain that Emoji, the head of the dragons, is the keeper of the 4 crystals. And all I could think of was Emoji, keeper of the 4 social medias. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat.
Within these crystals lays the essence of each social media. Twitter with its quippy, snappy remarks and quick insults. Facebook with all the pictures from grandma. Instagram with all the models somehow making a living off showing all just taking pictures of themselves. And Snapchat, basically people sending nudes to each other.
I was gonna say the discount porn.
Yeah.
And so there's like so they get there and they're like, yeah, Emoji has the magic crystals, but the magic crystals need to be recharged and no one knows how to recharge them. And there's this weird emphasis in the book on how everyone in Tyronia, it's so different and weird because everyone drinks green tea.
Yeah, that's the whole culture as far as I could tell.
And coincidentally, I was drinking green tea when I read that for the first time and was like...
Clearly, you're a Tyronian dragon person.
I am. And they're discussing how everyone's drinking tea and, is this when Maya is there, or is this just the Joey show right now? I think it's just the Joey show.
It's mostly the Joey shit. There was like a brief... we cut to Maya for her and Captain Henry kissing a little bit. There's a whole romantic kissing scene for one chapter, and it made me very uncomfortable because it's explicit to say, hey, Maya's like maybe about to turn 16 soon, and Henry's age is not really brought up at all, and it seems like it's fine to everyone.
Yeah, I also was concerned because, once again, the illustration looked like Maya and Joey kissing, just like in the last book, where I thought it was Maya and Joey kissing because all the characters look the fucking same. So... No. There's a scene when Joey gets to Tyronia and they're like, yeah, the king really needs to talk to you about something. And they're having, I guess, a welcome dinner or an audience in the throne room. And it says that there is a giant purple canapé in the throne room. I don't know if you know what a canapé is or if that's even how it's pronounced, but all I know is it's a fucking hors d'oeuvre. A canapé is like a cracker with some shit on it. And yeah, I think that they were...
Maybe this has something to do with the fact that I know what the Polish word for sandwich is, which is kanapka, which is sort of like maybe a cracker with cheese is like a small sandwich in another language. I don't know.
But I think that the text was trying to say canopy.
Yes.
Like, because they were like, oh, the big purple canapé was spread across, a giant canapé was like spread over the throne, and I was like,
all the mayo and mustard at the same time, a nice turkey and brie on top.
So, and it wasn't like it was just it wasn't as though it was canopy and there was like one letter misspelled. It was canapé spelled with the accents and everything. So like I don't know, and I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but it's a fucking hors d'oeuvre. So I just imagined a giant cracker like hovering over the throne. Just
every once in a while it crumbles a little bit, get a little bit of salty cracker on your tongue. It's delicious.
You have a note that just in all caps says, Captain Henry, no, she's 16.
Yeah, I was very alarmed about that chapter that popped up here randomly.
So,
Joey goes to visit King Pergamon, king of the Tyronia, and King Pergamon's like, I am dying. Joey, you just murdered 3 people outside with your key to the underworld. I guess you can be king.
Yeah, because the big important reason that the dragon was like, no, you're fucking come with me to Tyronia, is that they just want to give Joey the kingdom of this land he's never been to before.
They just hand it to him because the dragon saw him kill some conspirators or something. Because there was a scene where Joey found out about some conspirators and he zapped him away.
Well, then they're also like, oh, we heard about the encouragers. Of course, you should be the king. What?
He just gets handed nobility titles like a true white person backwards.
He
just deserves it.
Like a true white main character in any fantasy novel. Yep, totally.
Listen, he just deserves it. He also, because he can guess the magic ritual to rekindle the crystals of the social medias to get all the fucking fire back in there. He just walks around them in a circle 7 times.
No, and then he zaps them with the key to the underworld, with the nuke.
Like, I guess good guess that they wouldn't just shatter the crystals.
Yeah, right? I know. And I also was thinking about that. I was like, why would the key to the underworld, why would this, like, evil device be the thing that fixes the crystals and the dragon
Listen,
world?
I know exactly. I gotta pace around 7 times exactly. He paces around them a few times and he like, oh, that's not enough, clearly. I have to do a 7th time and then zap them.
Yeah, because he was like, oh yeah, because there were 7 bridges, right? He literally just guesses, stumbles his way, into this, and of course then
he's done nothing but fall ass backwards into power.
I know. And then they're like, oh, we're gonna have this ceremony, we're gonna crown him king, and apparently in Tyronia, bowing or kneeling is not enough. When you're honoring a royalty or a better, you actually have to lay prone on the ground, just flat,
fully flat
with your face in the fucking dirt. That's
how Joey wants it.
No, that was a Tyronian tradition that they had to.
I know.
Hold. And then, so of course, immediately after Joey is crowned like the successor, the king dies. Just eats shit
right
like
there.
Hours
He's
later.
Like, I've decided now is the time. I've been holding this in for years and years and years. I've been holding in my death. Now I can finally let it out like a wet fart.
Yeah, my death fart. And so then, I don't know, some advisor guy is like, hey man, we gotta do the fire burial, which I assume they just mean like they cremate people instead of burying them, but they call it a fire burial, which isn't really the right way to say that, but they're like, yeah, we gotta give you these coins. You gotta use these for the cremation ceremony. And Joey's like, what do you mean? And the dude is like, oh, well, you gotta use these coins to weigh his eyes down. And I was like, is he awake? Is he alive when he's getting burned alive? Like, is he
when
being
you
burned alive?
set a corpse on fire, the eyes attempt to leap out of the body and run away, unless there's a little bit of weight on them, like a coin, say, and then we're fine. You don't have to worry about eyeball monsters implanting themselves in your skull and taking over your body.
That's a great theory. And then there's this weird little aside where they imply that the spirit and the soul are 2 different things.
Yes,
which I don't understand. Oh my god.
The soul is your personality, and the spirit is their energy you charge up to become Super Saiyan. That's how that works.
No, but there's mind, too. Mind, spirit,
True.
soul. Oh my god. Sean, whatever. Fucking Dean Jean-Pierre. Mind, spirit, soul. Spirit, mind, body, soul.
He's trying to seduce us through the pages of Maradonia.
Yeah, I don't
Paris,
know. What?
Can you please, while we're here, Joey has a little bit of a meltdown, actually.
Okay.
I mean, you're the one with the book here, and you're the one that can read copy.
Unfortunately.
So see if you can find, like, the paragraph that Joey has about he can't stand all this change that's happening. It's a perfect little snippet about how dialogue works in every conversation in this book.
Let's see. All right. Fucking huge book. All right. Did you want me to start at Joey was so emotionally touched, or Joey is still crying said?
Yeah, Joey's still crying said, please.
Joey, still crying, said, every time we have just built a strong emotional and family connection with somebody like King Astradolis in Maradonia, or with you, King Pergamon, we soon have to say goodbye. There's nothing permanent in the world. We walk from one change to another change. During this time of permanent changes, we are changed. During these times...
So much change.
During these times, I got stronger but softer. It seems that my sister, who was always more emotional than me, became stronger but harder. King, do you want me to continue?
No, that's enough. Listen, man, you didn't form a deep bond with the king you just met.
Like 6 hours ago. Or 12 hours ago, yeah.
Also, you're the king of a whole country now, which I guess it's pretty stressful, like, to have that immediately thrust upon you. And he does kind of take it seriously a little bit, in a way, in the way that a 15-year-old boy can take that kind of thing seriously.
No, he's still 14, right?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, he's still 14. Maya is older than him.
And somebody's like, all right, suck it up. Kings don't cry, dude. You're a king now. Okay. And as King Pergamon is dying, he's like, oh no, I'm dying. Oh, the darkness is too dark. It's like, did you think
I didn't expect it.
Did you think there'd be a nightlight on your way to death? Like, I just don't know what you mean by that. Too dark. Okay.
Also, now we have, this is the citywide party for Joey's crowning. And once again, people are screaming until midnight at all times. Hail King Joey, hail, until midnight, it says. And also children are crying about King Pergamon dying, but singing about King Joey being alive. So I just imagine a horrible atonal chorus, just very pitchy and wavery. King Joey is our king. We
King
have to listen to King Joey. King Joey has a laser gun. If you're bad, he'll shoot you dead.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that was bad. But yeah, needless to say, it probably sounds as bad as all that, which was terrible.
Yeah. Big party happening, and all the kids are crying and singing.
Oh, the demon baby drawing. Yeah, that one's real good.
Okay, this is the one that, like, was hard to look. Listen, there's this baby that is naked, and it's looking back at you. There's, like, a weirdly detailed roll of belly fat on it as it's turning aside to you, which is, I can appreciate as someone that draws anatomy, but then the rest of the baby, I'm the one drawing anatomy, someone that, her mom, Gloria's mom, who is illustrating this, should appreciate that a little bit. I appreciate the detail work there, but the rest of the baby is terrifying to look at, the face especially.
Yeah, it's like the torso is pretty good, and then as it gets to the outer edges of the baby, so as we go up to the head and as we go out to the edges of the limbs, that's when, like, reality starts to blur. Like, things get really weird.
Yep.
For example, the leg, the thigh is, like, too thin and long, and the
Come on, give it to me, Pat. We got so much to get through here.
What's that part of the leg? Oh. Oh no, Maradonia has rendered me stupid. Oh my god, what is that part of your leg? Oh no.
We're gonna have to post this one up for sure now. Just have that be the episode picture from now on.
The part that's below your knee. What's...
Calf?
No, sure.
Shin?
Yeah, whatever, your lower leg. I don't know if that's what I was trying to
Calf
say.
or shin, Paris. The two front, the front and the back, that's it.
So, the lower leg. It just kind of looks like a sock filled with meat.
All right.
foot doesn't look like a foot. It looks like a hoof because all the toes have merged together.
Oh, God.
The head is the wrong size. It's just...
It also has like what looks like a photoshopped face on there.
Yeah, it's very weird. Oh, God.
Anyway, moving on from the demon baby, that's King Prince Michael, the son of King Janarius.
Yes. And then King Joey is like, oh, man, I'm really stressed out about this whole king thing. You know, my sister's gone. You know, she usually helps me with stuff. I don't know. And, you know, Danny, if you remember Snake by Danny, you know, good old Danny's still around. He's like, you know, Danny tried to cheer Joey up and said, you know, King Joey, it's pretty hot today. Don't you think? I have a good idea. Let's go together to the pool, cool off, order some mango juice, eat something, you know, maybe get a little naked. Okay, I add the last part. But like, but that
really sounds like he's working up to that.
It does sound like he's like, all right, he's stressed out. This is the time, you know, offer the massage, put a little rum in the mango juice.
Towels come off, a little bit of blowy.
Yeah.
Who's to say?
I mean, he's a king now, you know, like gotta get in there while you can.
You know, kings need their stress relief.
And then there's a point where they discover that the plot to murder. Oh, that's right. Now we're on
our fourth evil girl squad. The nurses in charge of Prince Michael's care are in league with King Pluton to poison or murder the baby.
They were blackmailed into murdering King Janarius, the king of Maradonia in this book. They were blackmailed into murdering his infant son. And they, like, know about the evil nurses, but for some reason they just continue to leave the baby with them? I was confused about that.
Yeah, this was a Tarn Cap thing, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
And Janarius he's talking to Maya about how he found some people that were supposedly part of the rebellion. He went into, like, a murderous rage and murdered a bunch of people, and he also lets on... Some of those people were definitely innocent people just caught in the crossfire of my murder rage. Wow, I'm so torn up about it. And Maya's like, don't worry about it.
Yeah, Maya goes, no, it's fine. You have to murder people. Like, that's what you have to do to keep the peace. And he's like, no, but I murdered innocents. And she's like,
Gotta do what you gotta do. You know, I was really concerned about those bats in the cave, but just random innocent people in your city? Yeah, fuck
it's fine. Yeah, and to be clear, what he did was he went to the two strongholds, the two cities, like, held by the resistance or whatever against the crown. Because I guess their forces are getting larger, and he snuck into, like, where they were having a meeting and just murdered, like, I don't remember how many people, but it was a lot. It was like a couple dozen people. He did it in one location and then went to a secondary location and did the same thing. Yeah.
He's torn up about it now, but Maya's always like, you gotta do king shit sometimes. You gotta flip out and murder a bunch of people in their strongholds. That's king shit to do, man.
Yep, it's fine. Yeah. Which, again, like, would have been fine if he was maybe just murdering people who wanted to murder him, but he was pretty clear that he was like, I murdered, you know, all the people that were just around. It wasn't even the actual people plotting.
I just did it. I didn't even care right there.
Yeah. And then, actually, I will say, my next point, I'm actually happy about something in this book.
I agree with this.
So, like we were saying, right at the end of the last book and throughout this book, they're trying to build up love interest for Maya and Joey. And they've set up Maya to have a crush on King Henry and King Henry to have a crush on her. And, like, they kissed in a scene. And Joey is in love with the idea of Crumhilda, the heir to the Krispy Kreme throne or whatever. And Morgana likes him too, that mermaid. And he kind of likes Morgana. I don't know. Anyway. So then the next time Maya and Henry are alone together, he asks her to marry him. And I'm like, oh, of course they're going to they're going to get married. But you know what? She says, no way, I'm only 16. This isn't happening. No, I reject your offer of marriage. And I was like, fuck yeah.
Hell yeah. Like, good for you, Maya. You got a good head on those shoulders right there.
I was so happy that they didn't get married. I was like, oh, thank God.
Don't be 16 and pregnant with some military man's baby while he's off doing his, campaigns and whatnot.
Exactly.
You're technically his boss, maybe, so...
Right, that too. I have another illustration note, which reads... Oh, my sweet hellish Satan, what happened to these nurses? Because the illustration of the nurses is troubling. Oh, it's hard to describe. I will, you know, I guess I can put up an article of the images, but I wonder if I'll get a C&D from Gloria. But I think since her dad died, she doesn't give a shit anymore, so it's probably fine.
Probably not.
Then the two nurses kill the baby, but just kidding, not really. We couldn't actually kill a baby in this book, so of course the baby gets fucking resurrected somehow.
Listen, Maya's almost like George R. R. Martin, except in a shitty way, where dogs and babies are the only things that die from her. Not true. People have heart attacks and shit too, but she does not give a shit about dogs and babies. And she moves on from their deaths pretty quickly, except for the whole Prince Michael thing, where Gloria attempts to resurrect him after he has been dead, like choked to death. By the way, the nurses shoved an apple down the baby's throat. That's how they did it. They shoved like a piece of an apple down the baby's throat.
No, they didn't even do that. They didn't even shove it. They were just like, baby wants a piece of apple, and they let him eat it, and then he choked on it, and they were like, yeah, no one's gonna know. It's just gonna be an accident. And then they're like, ooh, we'll stuff this dragon toy in his mouth, too. What?
Like, how is that the plan?
Yeah, it doesn't.
How is that the plan?
And then Gloria, without knowing that this is the plan, so she has no idea that they're planning on doing this, she sees an apple stem sticking out of one of the nurses' pockets, and she's like, what's that? Is that a fucking apple? What are you doing with an apple? And I was like, why would she have any reason to be suspicious about a fucking apple if she doesn't know about their plan?
Listen,
the apple.
The only reason anyone would have an apple would be to do something dangerous and nefarious with it.
Yeah, that made no sense. Oh, yeah, and actually, I was surprised that Gloria... I said Gloria. I meant Maya. They're the same. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
Excuse me. So the baby is choking, and of course, Maya gets in the room right in time to see it start to happen. And she actually does the right thing, where she turns the baby over and whacks its back. And that's actually one of the things you're supposed to do. That's like the first thing you're supposed to do if a small child is choking before you attempt CPR, because usually kids are choking because there's something like stuck in their throat, you know?
Yep.
And it's easier to just, because you can't do the Heimlich on a baby. So the baby Heimlich is that you turn them over on their stomach on like your leg, and you fucking whack the back of their, like between their shoulder blades with your palm. And the book was asserting that was like, the nurses were like, oh, she made it worse by hitting him on the back. Maya killed him. And I was like, no, that's what you do if a baby is choking. That's actually correct. And then they end up saving him by basically doing that, but on a dragon? So it somehow was better?
Sure. You know, it's like the scales on his back helped with it.
No, the velocity. They were going really fast.
Oh, right, yeah, she did like a dive on the dragon. That for some reason that helps, even though he's like he's choked and dead at this point. He's like blue.
He's been dead for, like, the doctor comes in and pronounces him dead, and he's been dead for, I want to say, more than several minutes at this point.
Yes, most definitely.
And I'm pretty sure if your brain doesn't get oxygen for that long, you can't be brought back.
There's gonna be issues, but I mean, Emoji the dragon is on the scene trying to help with some dragon dives, but he still like takes the time to spill some dragon lore. This is the scene where he tells Maya, "Oh, I used to be the king of Tyronia and whatever. I spoke the dragonish language, of course, which is the language that dragons speak.
Yes,
and also my name used to be Raskolnikov, which is just one letter change from Raskolnikov, the main character in Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky.
Oh,
what a weird reference."
That's weird.
What a weird reference.
I didn't pick up on that. That's very strange. Like I said, he just grabs at anything in pop culture or mythology that he can, and just, it's in there.
I think this is also the scene where he makes reference to, like, previous wars in Tyronia, like they were world wars. Also, I thought another one will be coming soon. In these times, I call it World War III.
Okay, this is just more evidence that Maradonia is just fucking Florida. It's the same timeline.
Yeah. They know about World War I and World War II, so obviously.
It's Florida. Maradonia is Florida. I'm telling you,
Floridonia.
Floridonia. We gotta get a bunch of people together. We gotta storm the border. We gotta storm the
Fuck Area 51.
At the edge of Disney that's keeping Floridonia from us. You know, we gotta get out to the Keys, maybe get on a boat. You know, oh my God, Chris. Is the Bermuda Triangle anywhere near there? Is that where this is? Oh my God.
Let me see something.
Blowing the roof off of this.
I found it out.
I gotta get David Duchovny on the phone.
Call him. You have him on speed dial, right? Bermuda Triangle. Where is, please? It's next to Bermuda, turns out. And yes, it's very close to Florida. It's extremely close to Florida.
We figured it out. We figured it out.
Terrible Book Club has cracked his case wide open. This is Special X-Files Unit. Terrible Book Club. Ice-T and Fox Mulder are on the case.
Oh my god. I forgot about that.
Are you telling me there's a whole country behind a mountain range in Florida?
Yes, I am.
Yes, that's right. I'm telling you, Ice-T. I'm Fox Mulder, and I believe I can't do a Mulder impression. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I also can't.
My Mulder impression is me going, "Hi, it's me. I'm Fox Mulder, FBI agent from the X-Files."
Yeah, I can't impersonate Dana Scully's voice either, or Gillian Anderson's voice.
Moving on. Anyway.
Baby hanger is my next note.
I forgot what that was about. Anyway.
I do. It's have you ever seen like one of those like wraps that mothers wear to keep your baby? And yeah, they call it a baby hanger.
Okay. Well, that's kind of a weird way to
phrase
it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Can we just speed run the rest of this?
Yeah, listen, Maya flies off to another country entirely where there's 3 wise men, and their names are names. They got some name. Okay, so Paris, you made a joke about one of these names.
I made a joke about all three of them.
There's one of these things that like I need to have a discussion with you about, so hit me with the names of these 3 masters and your
all right,
your parody names.
All right, we got the triple threat of the Midnight Munchies. We got Domino's, Melted Cheese Stick, and Yoga Banana.
Master Dominatio, Master Melchizedek, and Master Yogananda. Now, Paris, your joke about Master Melchizedek, Melted Cheese Dick. Okay, so in the video game series Persona, you can swap out all your personas, and they're usually inspired by all different kinds of mythology and shit. That's where this name comes from. One of the personas' name was Melchizedek, and I too, in my head, upon seeing this, like 5 years ago, was like, ha, melted cheese dick. And I have had this joke in my head for 5 years, and I was looking for an opportunity to say it to, because I can't bring this out randomly. Hey, check out this persona with a weird name. Its name's Melted Cheese Dick. Fucking hilarious. You've stolen this from me.
I stole it from your mind.
What all that means is that everyone has the same reaction to the name Melchizedek. It's Melty Cheese Dick.
Or have we just been friends for so long that we are becoming Pris and Cheris?
Oh God. Oh, let's continue. I can't think about that too long.
Yeah, that's horrifying.
Anyway, Maya flies to the Melty Cheese Dick and Yogurt Banana and Domino's Land, and they give her all this wisdom about being wise. And there's these inscriptions on pillars that have long form Maradonia aphorisms on them. And the third one is just from the Bible.
I feel like they're all just from the Bible.
Specifically, the third one is most definitely from the Bible. The other ones are, some of them might be, but some of them definitely are not.
Yeah, there's a let's see, I'm just gonna speed run this. So there's a drawing of a dragon scepter, and the drawing is terrible, and of course, and the icon on the scepter looks like a dragon drag queen, which, like, if that doesn't exist already, one of y'all needs to get on that, because a drag queen that is a drag, come on. Oh my god, I hope this exists.
Yeah, I
all
really
of a
want to see
sudden,
that.
we're using the Elder Futhark. That just makes an appearance, like the old Germanic alphabet. There's another evil sorcerer guy for like a hot second.
There's just some evil sorcerer that's like on the, because listen, the Masters used to be part of the ancient Dragon Kingdom. Amugi was like also their buddy. They also had this other buddy who was an evil sorcerer now, who his whole character is like, I'm so good at fucking, I need to show everyone how fucking good at magic I am now. I'm going to show these fuckers how good at magic I am now.
Just for no reason. Yeah, because they're like, hey, we want to recruit this guy back into our fold, even though he's kind of a dick, because we need all of our powers combined because we are Captain Maradonia. I don't know.
Yep.
So there's just this other evil sorcerer guy, like, side quest that happens. There's a note about cockroaches loving bread. There's an amazing line, just Just an amazing line out of context from Maradonia. What a joy it will be to take this booty.
Hell yeah.
Oh, there's another illustration that I describe as Roman punk fusion corpse paint.
Is this like the guy with the mohawk or whatever?
Yeah, and the weird...
This is where fucking Maya's Maradonia combat section starts. Listen, after hearing all this shit from the wise men, they turn the evil sorcerer guy into a cockroach or something. I'm pretty sure that's why that note is there. Also, this great sorcerer has never fucking heard of invisibility magic.
Nope.
Because he's foiled again by fucking invisible people listening in on his plotting. So, just greatest sorcerer in the world. I'm so good at magic, but he's never heard of an invisibility spell. Ever. It doesn't even cross his mind at all.
Nope.
Anyway, Maya is on some... She has to go learn how to fight because she's going to be royalty and she needs to learn how to defend the kingdom of Maradonia. Even by the way, Prince Michael has been healed. He's been resurrected and he's fine. At some point in between here, bringing him to the wise men, they fucking revived him and he's A-okay. So, but she feels it's time to go train, and there's these special warriors who are ghosts who live on a beach, and they've been waiting for centuries for someone to finally overtake them. They're going to train Maya for 12 days, and she has to fight them all at the end and defeat them, except she also defeats them during the 12 days sometimes, and they're satisfied. There's also randomly a page in here where it's like very specific about this was a black warrior right here, you guys. I really need to tell you guys how dark this guy was.
The final batch of warriors she has to fight are black guys, and the text wants to point that out because every different person she's fought has looked slightly different from a different part of the world, and they've fought in different styles. You have like the guy with the net and the trident. You have broadsword user. You have somebody dual wielding. You have all these different. Chris, this is Maradonia Souls. Maradonia Souls.
Yeah, this is exactly what this is. All the Maradonia Souls build that's happening right here. There's even fatalities in here too. She's straight up beheading ghosts, I guess. Which I mean, they're already dead, so what does it matter?
Well, and the whole thing is like these ghost dudes are there to help tutor her, but also if she beats them in one-on-one combat or whatever, their souls get redeemed?
Because they're warrior souls and they gotta have a really good one last fight. That's literally the logic.
No, I think it was like they were murdered by bad guys in such a way where their souls were trapped there, and in order to free them, they have to do this, and she has to kill them. And
what kind of fucking evil sorcerer is just like making ghost fighting tournaments and then walking away forever? He's not even watching.
No, it doesn't make any sense. Oh, and then fun fact, after that it's chapter 60, and chapter 60 is identical to the prologue at the beginning of the book.
I had a deja vu moment when I was reading it, and it just completely washed over me. I was like, come on, this is late in the book. I just thought I read this yesterday or something is what happened.
You did. It's almost identical to the prologue. I don't understand why they thought, we have to repeat the prologue.
I don't
know.
This is where we come back to Big Bertha, right? So,
the prologue was just Pluton plotting to kill Abaddon with the Titans, and that's...
Oh, right, yeah. They just reiterate that they're going to do the whole Prometheus thing on him.
Yep, they literally just reproduce, practically, they almost exactly reproduce the prologue as chapter 60. Then it's bird time again. We're back to the birds.
And this time, if you wanted some more bird action, you're getting a lot of bird action this time, because Big Bertha turns to BB and Doodoo, and she's like, hey... The other day, I saw a bunch of hawks over there. Let's go fuck them.
Yep. So they fuck those hawks.
And they make a crossbreed entity of bird called...
the Rockins!
Yes, the Rockins.
And the weird thing is that these Rockins were already mentioned. I can't remember if it was earlier in the book or if it was at the last book.
Late second book.
Yeah, so I'm like... Why are we hearing about their creation now if they already existed in the last book?
When you're away for a couple weeks in regular Florida, Maradonia is also in the past, but also 2 years in the future. Listen, I didn't think it through. Just keep reading.
So I'm imagining the Rockins as the like terrible mascot of Floridonia. So it's like,
yep.
the Floridonia Rockins here to defend the title with their star quarterback, Braun Brandon.
Yeah.
Braun Brandon, you see, is not a name I made up. It is from the text.
Yep, that's one of the Rockins.
It's the name of Big Bertha's prized rockin' son, Braun Brandon.
My beautiful, big Braun Brandon son.
This sounds like we are making this up, but we're not. It's in the text.
We're on the home stretch, though, luckily.
Oh, we're almost there. We can do this.
We're in the home stretch where King Daenerys decides to fucking kill himself.
No, well, they talk about how the Ravens and Hawks have bred, and now there's an army of Rockins, but I was like, it's only like a dozen birds. They don't breed that quickly. There's gestation time.
No, they were rocking it hard.
Yeah, then Daenerys kills himself because he doesn't get the message.
Michael's dead.
Yeah,
Maya doesn't get back in time because she's off doing fucking training. You don't think you should fly back immediately and be like, oh, it's cool. Your son is alive.
Well, she sent him a message via carrier pigeon, but they only sent one pigeon, and that one pigeon was like captured and murdered, so he never got the message.
Oh, right, yes.
When you but when you send out carrier pigeons, you're supposed to send out more than one with the expectation that one or two of them might get fucked up or not make it. So, like, whoever is in charge, whoever's the bird master or whatever, you fucking suck.
I only had one.
Ugh. Then, holy fuck, Maya's face in the illustration on page 655.
Yeah, you're definitely going to have to accompany this.
Oh, I don't know if you remember this one.
I don't, so go ahead and hit me with the robot.
So, it's supposed to be a side, or, yeah, sort of a side, or 3/4 profile, I don't know, of Maya as Queen of Maradonia, because Daenerys offs himself and she gets crowned immediately as Queen of Maradonia, so, you know, I almost said Juan. So Joey, Joey is king of Tyronia, and now Maya is Queen of Maradonia, so of course they have this lovely alliance. And there's a drawing of her, I guess what's supposed to be during her coronation ceremony or just after it, and the face, it's a small illustration, so the face is very tiny. Oh God. Oh.
I can hear you like pulling your eyes down across the page and like taking it in.
I mean, it doesn't look like a human face is all. I'll have to zoom in on it and put it up on Instagram or on the website, but she's got this huge forehead, her eye is set incorrectly, her jaw is she actually, so like I said, it's not really human looking. She has this long neck and her face is kind of jutting outward, so it's almost like she's turning into an alien, you know, from the Aliens Predator movies, like that's slowly happening to her face, and we somehow captured it like mid transformation.
That's
yeah,
yikes.
Yeah, it's great.
She has a crowning ceremony for this, by the way, but it's completely different from what happened for King Daenerys's crowning ceremony. And there's also like an after crowning snack. It's mentioned that there's snacks outside for everybody.
Yep. Yeah, no, the post.
All those crackers, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm sorry. That's in Tyronia. It's their throne room that has crackers.
Oh yeah, and then on page 660, Maya's like, oh, you know, it's really just so terrible that Daenerys went through all this bullshit and he had no one to stay by his side and help him. You know, it's like, it's so terrible that he had to go through all these tragedies and just have no one to guide him. It's really too bad because we fucking abandoned him to go back to Florida and then to another kingdom entirely. Like,
we had to go back to Florida for a bit to get my hand stomped and so Joey could be an asshole poltergeist.
And then they went to Tyronia and it's like, dude, fucking... Yeah, it's really too bad he killed himself. Really too bad.
Yeah, maybe nothing could have been done.
No, nope.
Also, this is like Maya's, because she's queen, now she has to go, she's also pissed off and has to go do the kingly shit or the royalty shit and murder a bunch of people that are in on the conspiracy because she's had enough and she just decides to cleanse things because I think the frog told her, hey, if you don't immediately cleanse this thing, Maradonia's going to have a long time. So there's one sentence where it's like, and then Maya murdered 40 people by beheading them. Like, really?
Oh yeah. By the way, Maya had those 2 weeks of ghost training, and it was really hard training, so she's now so strong that she can just behead dudes in a single swing. This
Yes, no
tiny,
problem.
frail 16-year-old that weighs maybe 100 pounds soaking wet. Yeah, definitely. Joey is super in love with Queen Krispy Kreme or whatever.
Yeah, and he's so about, oh my god, Queen Kriemhilde. And there, hey, you totally forgot about Morgana the mermaid, but hey, the mermaid people are back.
And then, well, Queen Brunhilde is Kriemhilde's, or Princess, sorry, they're princesses right now. So Princess Brunhilde is Princess Kriemhilde's sister, and they make a big deal out of oops, sorry, just like punched the boom, sorry. And they make a big deal out of like, oh, well, Brunhilde is like huge and manly and no one likes her, and she misinterprets like Joey looking at Kriemhilde as looking at her, and Brunhilde falls in love with Joey, and then the section ends with just the sentence, "It was a love triangle." And I was like, I don't think that's, no.
Real tenuous. Real tenuous.
And then, but that gets resolved really quickly because Princess Brunhilde just takes this dude as her boyfriend and husband and forces him to marry her a little later in the book.
This dude named Balthazar is just like...
Poor Balthazar.
He doesn't get a choice at all. He's just like literally like headlocked into a marriage with this lady. And he's like, yeah, I guess that's it for me. She got me.
Yep, and Joey falls in love with Kriemhilde after spending, a few hours with her or whatever. And then...
He finally saw that beautiful hair on her head.
Yep, and and... By the way, Princess Kriemhilde's beautiful hair, it's known across the land, and it is called her Goldie Cape. Her Goldie Cape.
That's really stupid. That's really stupid.
Yep.
One of many really stupid things.
And so like Chris pointed out, Joey's old flame Morgana has shown up. The adult mermaid who wanted to fucking marry this 14-year-old human? Yeah, she shows up. And she's like, hey man, like, I know you got some stuff going on, but like, you should come with me because I know where the gold of Ophir is. And he's like, oh shit, dude, really?
Yeah, remember that whole other plot in this book? A mermaid just shows up to hand him the answer.
Yep, and so she's like, yeah, here it is. It's in this, I found it in this weird underwater crater, and then I moved it all here, because it's so much easier to move things underwater. And I was like, isn't it harder to move things underwater? Or is that another thing where I'm wrong?
No, technically things are more weightless underwater. Because it's easier to, that's why fat cats exercise in water.
Oh, fat cats. I love them.
That's why they're in water. It's easier to move their fat cat paws.
Oh, I love that video of the cat on the treadmill with music to it. The cat on the underwater treadmill. If no one's seen this video, go to YouTube. Do yourself a favor. Cleanse your mind. And watch the video of the obese cat doing underwater treadmill exercise. And it's set to music. And it's just really pleasant. Anyway.
Really nice. Speaking of water, there's a brief aside to King Apollyon hanging out in his castle or whatever. And this is literally just a throwaway part where he's like, oh man, I think it's because he hears about them fucking around with the Gold of Ophir again, or he has some plot about it, even though he's really not that involved in it or whatever. And he makes a mention of how water is the most hated element of the king of the underworld and his sons. So if water is the element you hate, why do you have a water park in the middle of your castle full of mermaids and water if you hate it so much? Why?
He wants to control it, Chris.
He
has to control it. Yeah, and so the mermaid is like, so Morgana is like, yeah, Joey, I got the Gold of Ophir. It's right over here. I moved it all to this very convenient location. And she brings one of those magical breathing shells with her so he could come with her. And then she brings him to this location and steals the breathing shell back from him and is like, I've trapped you here. Now you can be my husband forever. And he's like, wait, what? I thought this was about the gold. And she's like,
wait.
Nope.
Nope.
So now he's like, I'm sitting on the most concentrated wealth in the world, and I can't even escape. I have all the gold in the world, and it's never going to make me happy. And I was like, wow, that's a really literal way to...
Yeah, really painting that metaphor on thick with an extremely literal way to take.
Yeah, and so I thought that he was in an underwater cavern, because you know how you can you have to get to them by going underwater, but then there's a pocket of air in the there's air in the cavern. There's maybe a small, there's somehow air getting from the surface so you can be under there, but he would be trapped because she took his breathing seashell. But no, turns out he's just there is sky above him.
It's visible. They spot him. Turns out Maya flies over with Emoji the dragon. They just spot him later on. Because, like, it's just solved immediately. That's every problem.
So for like a little while, Morgana force feeds him this fruit that turns him slowly into a merman, but she has to feed it to him on so many nights. I don't know. It's like a shitty reverse Little Mermaid plot, basically, where someone is being turned into a mer person against their will. But like, instead of just sitting there and eating the food that she brings him once a day, why doesn't he just stack the crates and escape if it's too sheer to climb? You have innumerable crates at your disposal. Build a fucking set of stairs. You have the tools. Nah. Jesus, Joey. And so I'd
rather sit on my golden cry.
Nope, just gonna sit on the golden cry and slowly...
Wait, kings can't cry. Fuck.
We slowly turn into a merman and be forced into this weird mer marriage. But yeah, then, as Chris said, it gets solved pretty quickly. Like, it's only a couple of chapters, and then, you know, Maya just knows, like, oh, I don't know, I guess he disappeared with a mermaid. I'll go fly over to the mermaids with the dragon, and then as we're leaving, we see him in this crater. We rescue him.
He's still a mermaid, but they got him just in time to prevent the permanent murmuring, I suppose.
Yep, mermaning. There's some mention about the Rockins being around, and somehow they're faster than dragons and extremely vicious. So vicious that they try to eat their mothers when they're born, which makes no sense. Ugh.
We're almost in the home stretch here.
I think we did it. Wait, no, we're good.
Maya goes to rout the rest of the rebellion because she just knew it was General Felipe most of the time anyway, but she just continued to let him operate for a bit. So she's beheading people left and right, takes some other people prisoner. There's this trial against... It's a token trial. The only thing notable about it is that General Felipe decides to call Maya a slut. Just dropping that in there.
Was it Maya? No, he called Ginger a slut, not Maya.
Oh, yeah, it was Ginger. I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, you know.
And then, you know, they decide to kill most of the people that were part of the resistance. And there's a guy who's like... You know, I know...
Barnabas, I think.
Yeah, the tradition in this land is that everyone who is sentenced to death gets a wish. And I was like, that's weird. Like, not last words, but a last wish? It seems like a strange tradition. Yeah, not a meal, not words, but a wish. And, you know, it's the typical, like, well, you can't wish for your own freedom or the freedom of anyone else, but sure. And he's like, okay, my wish is that when you cut my head off... If I keep running after you cut my head off, everyone I run by will be free. And they're like, yeah, sure, that's not going to happen. And sure enough, they behead him and he runs by 9 people and they have to set those 9 people free. Why is this in the book? I have no idea.
It's not like Maya's... I think it's supposed to be a way that Maya shows mercy by following some rules, so she's not completely bloodthirsty, but I don't believe it.
All right, and we're to our final note. Chris, you want to just take us home? Take us home.
King Joey comes back over to Maradonia to tell Maya about all the stuff happening in Tyronia and how they're going to have this alliance and everything. And he's like, you know, Maya, we're stepping into a new era here where we're royalty, and we got to work hard because freedom ain't free. The end. It literally
ends with freedom isn't free in giant font in all caps.
It's a nice wet patriotic fart to end this whole farce.
We did it.
It's over.
We're done.
I'm sweating with having no AC on and the effort of pouring through these notes. We did it for you. It's been 3 hours.
Oh my god, no, it hasn't been. Oh my god, it's been over 2 hours. All right, we'll try to wrap this up then. All right, you asked. We fucking did it, Dari.
It felt like 3 to me. I'm sorry.
I hope you...
Daylight savings. I've time warped a little bit.
Oh, well, it's because you're wavering between Florida and Maradonia and the land of Floridonia.
Yeah, Jesus.
Well, I hope this was enjoyable, Dari, for your 2019 choice. Thank you to all of our patrons. That includes Dari, Greg, Will, Veronica, Dee, Jared, Lynn, Sinna, Jakob, Torben, aka Duck King, Bobby Blackcat, Ayame, and Jensina. Thank you all.
Thank you.
If you too want to help support the show, you can head over to our Patreon and join us at the $5 a month level or higher. You can access exclusive content like special video segments that we do and a bunch of basically Mystery Science Theater 3000 tracks, but it's me and Chris instead of the Mystery Science folks, where we watch movies or TV shows that are related to books on the podcast, although Like we do sometimes stray and do other things. Like right now we're doing the OA, the Netflix series, and pretty soon when it's out, we're gonna do The Art of Racing in the Rain, the movie.
Oh, good.
Yeah, because we once read that book long ago in the first season, and it's one of our lost episodes.
So we can bring it back, kind of.
Bring it back. So yeah, and if becoming a patron is not feasible for you, you can always help us generate income passively. So if you download the Radio Public app and listen to the show on that app, rather than using iTunes or Podbean or Stitcher or whatever else, if you use the Radio Public app, we get 2 cents for every play and an extra $1 bonus if you listen to 3 episodes in a row. So if you can't give us money directly, you can give us money indirectly in that way. I don't know if we have any other announcements.
Nope. We've come to the end of the month of Maradonia for at least our regular podcast listeners.
Yeah, that's true. We are preparing some special Maradonia content, which will probably already be up by the time this is recorded. I was going to talk about some life stuff, but this is too long, so fuck it. You're going to have to wait till next time. Yeah, we got to go.
Yeah.
I gotta leave before I get pulled in.
All right.
To the Maradonia Triangle.
Paris, it's been a trip. We're going to come back eventually, but for now, let's say goodbye to Mara Floridonia. Goodbye, Paris and Maradonia.
Goodbye, Chris.